mean business. You know,
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's better to owe Watto money than flipped out.
What's that?
It's better to owe Watto money than flipped out. Speaking
Yeah.
of,
You don't want to owe me money.
Watto money than Flipped Out. Rumor has it that Flip clipped Watto. He clipped off one of his wings until he got paid. Rumor has it that Flip clipped Watto. Anyway, I can actually hear myself echoing. So.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Barbecue.
Well, we're live, and welcome to the Podrace After Party Boonta Eve nights, where we discuss all of the scum and villainy of the Tatooine underworld. And trust me, we've got a lot of dirt and a lot of people, and other people are paying us to rat them out, and other people are paying us not to get ratted out. So it's a good business, and that's how I actually can support my channel. So I'm General Katarn.
Yes, and I'm Flipped Out.
And I'm the Rookie Critic.
Awesome.
And I'm 6-0 Rookie.
All right.
And I am the Red.
Awesome. So.
And I am sexually oppressed.
Well, I don't know how you
and my name is Anakin.
I mean, you can always talk to Jill, right?
Now this is pod racing.
Oh man, this is off to a very, very good start. So I want to say hello to anyone that's in the comments right now, if there is anyone watching.
And rent doesn't count.
Hey, I count. Hello.
Hey Rand. Hey Colin Rand. So we have a pretty cool panel of people right now, and let's see what we can start off, what we can kick off. Yesterday I was kind of late to the party. You're late to the party, pilot, as Delta 07 would say in Republic Commando. Awesome game, you should play it. But you were discussing about Brie Larson, and I had a lot of cool things to say about her because I think that she's great. And I've got a gun held to my head, so I have to say these things. But yes, she's awesome.
All right.
We're detecting your sarcasm.
Sarcasm. I detect his distress. The man has a gun to his head. I detect his distress. General, if they have the gun directly to your head, tap on your microphone twice.
Oh, so it's on his balls? No, it's good.
What does he do if it's not true?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I hate to
Blink once for yes and twice for no.
So
Hey, Sid Kryptonian just reached 600 subs, guys.
Congratulations to Sith Kryptonian. He deserves it. He's good with his content and stuff. And he's great. He's great. I like his content. I like his takes. And I think that he deserves all of the attention that he's getting. And you too, Rookie, you're also going very well from what I see.
Yep.
Outstanding work. I've actually been putting out garbage as of late. Then I'll be putting out the good stuff in March.
As long as the channel is active, as long as you've got some activity going on.
I put out a video of me eating a fucking banana. This is not exactly quality at the moment, but thanks.
Well,
though.
Rookie, it's been very helpful for me, all of your tutorials. Very helpful.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad, man. I'm saving some of those for our other project.
Oh, right on, brother. Yes.
Awesome. Your guild has started a new raid. Come on, guys. Every time I'm on a live stream, something exciting happens. I play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This video is not sponsored by EA. Otherwise, I could afford a better panel of guests. But anyway. So, I'm broke. That's all I got for now. But anyway, the thing is, it's February, and exactly as of next month, speaking of another game, and this is a cool topic that just came to the top of my head right now, off the top of my head. Guys, we have a problem where, for example, a lot of games like have microtransactions. I'm not going to go on the woke side of stuff because that's clearly agenda driven, but what I want to talk about is microtransactions. And there was this whole controversy with Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Flip, I think that you know it better than me, for example, because you have the game. I haven't played it in a very long time. I left my PlayStation back in Greece, and I couldn't manage. And me, smart me, I couldn't bring the game. I couldn't bring the console with me to Greece, and because I was like, okay, just leave your console back. And then that's when we get Dooku. That's when we get Grievous, and I'm a huge Grievous fan. In every single game, if I can get Din on Grievous, it's like a must for me. And what happened was the whole microtransaction fiasco that the fans backlashed against, and they won. And the thing with another game that I was playing that I really adored was Star Wars Force Arena. I have made a video on it, and the company Netmarble kind of got greedy, started changing the whole system around, pandered to the pay-to-win players, the ones that were actually spending a lot of money. And what happened was that this company decided to shut down this project, and now all of those people that spent all that money are currently drinking whiskey and banging their heads against the walls for spending so much money.
Excuse me, General. Did you say Netmarble?
Yeah.
And this platform would have been hosted by Netmarble when? Just this past year, say?
No, you see, this game has been around for at least 2 years, 2 good years. Now, what happened? It's the company started changing a lot of things and did a lot of mistakes along the way. Like for example, every single microtransaction game has got crystals and gold and all that stuff, and you have to buy some crystals to buy gold to upgrade your characters and upgrade your gear, to get stronger for more competitive formats. And it was a really enjoyable game. Now, I don't know which of you guys play League of Legends. I don't personally play League of Legends, but I do get why it's addictive. So Star Wars Force Arena has the exact same format, but basically it's like 3 minutes. You have to take down, you're basically faced in a lane, arena, 3 lanes, and you have to basically take down turrets that your opponents have. Now, if you defeat your opponent and you take down his shield generator, and that means you have to take down his 3 turrets first, that means that you win the game. Or when the time is up, you get 3 minutes and an extra minute if you are in a stalemate. If you destroy more turrets or destroy the shield generator, you win the game. So it's pretty much addictive. It has great replay value. And what happened was, the progression system kind of changed. They came up with a new update. It kind of sped things up, but then it took a toll on the rewards. And that meant that, you didn't have to buy crystals because you could get them freely in the game. And then, they kind of swapped that out and they took away the free crystals. So that meant that you had to buy crystals in order to upgrade faster. And what happened with that, long story short, is that they got greedy. A lot of players left the game. A lot of players stopped playing the game. And they gave a notice for March this year that they're terminating services in the server. So that is a huge that is a huge blow to the fans, because I love this game so much. It's one of the games I really enjoyed playing, and I can't play it anymore. So,
well, the reason I asked about Netmarble is because I was a big fan of a game. Maybe you guys haven't heard of it. It wasn't a very common MMO type of game, but Uncharted Waters Online is one of the longest active MMO experiences in the Southeast Asia type of area. Is very, very popular. They have different servers for it, but they acquired a license. Netmarble acquired a license from Koei in order to host the game for North American and European players. Now, everything was wonderful. We waited probably 25 years for this game because this was an original Nintendo 16-bit game. So we waited like 25 years for it to be online type of a variation. So we're quite excited about it, even though it's pretty low tech, low graphic value type of thing. It's more the mechanics, the economy, and all of that sort of. Anyways, Netmarble hosted it. They started messing around with mechanics because of Care Bear server type of issues and complaints. Yeah. It goes to pay to win for all different types of materials in the game. That crafting usually occupied a major place in this game. It was a real crafter's paradise, and then they started offering top line, pay to win items that were from the crafter's rack. So basically, eliminated the value of high level crafting in the game.
Exactly.
Trading pirating, all these things were all messed with, mucked with. And then to top it all off, it had come to find out that the GM staff from Netmarble actually had personal relationships with people in the game because of, the gender type, well, maybe not gender politics, but the politics of society right now. And, the us versus them type of mentality. And they literally faced a lawsuit for their behavior. They lost their license with Koei, and I didn't even know Netmarble was still in business, man.
This is not the first time I actually hear a complaint from this company. And I'm actually surprised that like a company like EA didn't do this. But, it was a much smaller company than EA, and I'm very disappointed that this happened. So what my main point is that microtransactions harm gaming, and one of the games that didn't get a voice to start up a backlash and get, maybe Netmarble to sell the project to someone else and maintain the servers and activity in the community of this game is just going to die. And unfortunately, it doesn't have anything to do with gender politics and stuff, but it has to do with corporate politics and their greed completely.
Well, I played Uncharted Waters for about 8 years, and it was a marvelous game, and it's a very niche kind of a game. Don't get me wrong, but this company, and like I said, this is just my opinion, but this company seems to bounce from licensee to licensee, basically it's a platform where they can say merit, because that's also a conversation in general society too, that merit doesn't mean anything anymore. If you earn something, you don't deserve it. And I don't know where that philosophy comes from, but it started in video games with Warcraft, when they took out, I don't know if it's the right word, twinks, which are high-powered mid-level characters that you can use in Battlegrounds. I don't know if you guys know this. It's just old Warcraft terms. But when they started messing around with mechanics, the meritocracy, if somebody spends 10 years playing Warcraft and they have all these achievements and they have all of these perks and all of these special items that they've acquired through their devotion to the game, how is that not slapping your customers in the face if you just hand that out for $15 next month? You know what I mean? Or it's and the microtransactions is a little bit different, but ever since DLC content, like I was a big Modern Warfare type player. I played with some ex-military friends and some global buddies. Ran a fairly effective clan. Used to get a lot of hate mail, so I guess we were doing well. But we started to get upset with this sort of thing with the DLC stuff. This, you just spent $320 million budget on this video game. What are you talking about? You only have 12 maps. What are you talking about? And now I have to spend $25 for 8 more maps or 4 more maps, and then DLC. Hey, why don't you take the $320 million budget that you had, and why don't you finish the damn game? Like, I don't know. It's just, and then they charge you $80 for the thing off the rack. Come on.
Yeah,
it's like I was saying about entertainment a few weeks ago when we were talking about the Alfred Hitchcock stuff. He put out 38 episodes a season. I don't know about you guys, but there's only 52 weeks in a year. That's a lot of work. And he only did them for like $20,000 or $30,000 an episode, and it's television that will still stand up today. Okay, so when people are saying, "Oh, I love my Game of Thrones," fuck that. And I know everybody's going to be like, "Oh my God." Look, does anybody think that's an honest way to provide entertainment to people? 4 episodes? I'm tired. I think I'll see you in 18 months. Give me a fucking break.
Hey, that's the perfect way to entertain.
Yeah, serious? If you're a parasite, if you're a fucking parasite and you want to make money for nothing, of course it is.
Don't you want to be able to leave the people wanting more?
Yeah, we used to do that. We used to do that through things called literary devices and good writing.
Yeah.
Really? What are those?
Now, listen, children, back in the olden days, when products used to sell very well, it was because people wanted them.
Really? It wasn't just because everybody was buying them?
Yeah, no, just because people say it's the right thing to do nowadays. If you want to be on board, that's what you got to do.
Oh, man. You want to be on board? Then you better get it. It's like, oh, yep, I'm writing your name down.
Well, nowadays it's like you go into McDonald's and you're like, yes, I'd like a cheeseburger, please. And so then they shove a filet of fish in your mouth and you're like, wait, I'm allergic to fish. And they say, get out, you Nazi.
Oh, you're allergic
Get out,
to
Nazi.
fish.
Get out, Nazi.
Oh man. That is too funny.
One of our fellow helpers over on the Phantom Menace side and in Comicsgate is Thor Odinson. I really like Thor. He's not really like an artist or a contributor of any type, but he's certainly a very active member of our community, and I'm glad he's around. He said he had a conversation with somebody at he makes comments on posts, and then somebody will, like, almost like a shit post, but then somebody obviously will reply. And I remember having somebody here just kind of observing the working, my working day as we're going along, and they're kind of curious with all this politics and funny business. And I saw the post from Thor, and I said, you want to see what I'm talking about? I said, watch this. In a few moments, you will see. And then all of a sudden, Thor come out with this hammer blow, basically, of a response. And I said, and thus the hammer swingeth. And this, this poor little snowflake, then the next thing you see, this tweet has been deleted. So it's, of course it has. But anyways, I don't know what brought that on, but it was just a funny story. In any case,
I have a quick question. Has anyone seen the Shaft trailer?
No.
I'm not so sure about it.
They do another
It's
remake?
come out this year.
No,
it's
Another
his son. His son finds him. His son finds him.
Oh.
John Jr., yes.
I
let
never
me
saw the
tell
first
you.
Shaft. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know.
Let me tell you, he's definitely modernized. Shaft,
Yeah.
he took out his gun because a lady raised a bat at him, like a baseball bat. He's like, you can't hit a lady. He's like, the hell you mean I can't hit a lady? He's like, that's so misogynistic. And he's like, I didn't say nothing about her gender. That was actually funny.
Yeah.
When's this supposed to come out? Later in the fall, maybe, or in the spring?
I actually didn't quite catch that. I was so focused on like hearing the music again.
Oh yeah.
I'll look it up right now.
I'm surprised they get away with making that these days. Well, if they stay true to the original, that is.
Oh, wait, that's for casting crew. I need release date.
All right. So,
so I wanted to bring up. Oh, I was going to say Twitch. I wanted to talk about a couple of Twitch, a little bit of Twitch news. Well, there's the Thomas Chung thing that we've been talking about from before, but also some news out of Greece that you wanted to share with us too, I think, isn't there?
Yeah. I think that this is something that I think that a lot of people will want to look into this. To my fellow viewers that are watching this right now, you all most probably heard, if you're part of this community, you must have seen John Talks or Geeks and Gamers making a video on this. And what happened essentially, to catch some people up to speed, is there was this girl, Helena Live, and she's a fellow Greek. I actually have met her once personally, and she lived relatively close to where I used to live. And she's a great person. She's wonderful, and she is very well spoken. She's not a bigot. She's not, feminist or anything like that. But it's not about the agenda. She just said one thing about, hey, there are two genders, and that's biology. That is something that has been that's fact. And Twitch basically banned her permanently because she was being offensive to the transgender community, despite her saying that, hey, I defend the community. So one thing that is worrisome and kind of stupid at the same time is that, hey, you cannot voice your opinion because not your opinion. You can't state simple fact and truth, because tomorrow you can say, hey, 1 + 1 is 2, and it will offend people because math will be offensive, and I don't know what they will think of, but I'm pretty sure that it will come up with something about math. Right now, math is the only thing that is logic that they cannot tweak. Now, I mean, they got to biology, and physics and math is next. And the question that I have to this panel and to the people that are watching this video right now, what do you guys think? So Twitch showed us that it's not a safe platform to voice things that quote unquote some people find offensive. And you don't know what's offensive anymore. There are no warnings, and this was, funnily enough, this was a problem in broadcasting and television in Greece. The board that, like the equivalent of the ESRB rating for video games, the board that reviewed content on channels on television were the ones that were deciding, okay, when a channel should get fined for inappropriate content. And I remember, for example, they tried to ban SpongeBob from this one channel and sued the channel for having SpongeBob on the channel because it was portraying gay messages. And that was like 10 years ago. I'm pretty sure that today it's okay. And SpongeBob was never about portraying gay messages, to my knowledge. It could be, but it's in a funny context. I mean, like me and my best friends, we do some pretty gay skits together. We have fun in that sense, where we take the piss out of each other and we start laughing and we start doing all these funny voices and stuff. And it's a way of, hey, it's a way of being funny. And that's what SpongeBob was. It's like a parody of all that stuff. And a long time ago, it used to be fun. Now, what happens now, you can't do that anymore because it's offensive. And the same company that sued this Greek channel for broadcasting SpongeBob had this talk show with a gay host, openly gay, like super gay, and that was okay. So that for the same program, for the same channel, the other program wouldn't get fined and sued because the host was gay and stuff. So SpongeBob, a cartoon written by two people and created by Steven Hillenburg, was offensive. So double standards. And secondly, this was a problem generally for all channels in my country, where you didn't know what to say. You could say shit in the one show, and then the next day you could say fuck, and you could get away with it. And then you could say damn in the other show, and you would get fined. But you'd be like, you could let me go away with fuck. How can I get away with? How can't I not get away with damn or darn or something like that? I'm just giving an example, and then we just find people left, right, and center. And there was this time where on TV it was uncertain what platform, how you could express yourself, where you were. And a lot of people were not speaking out, and TV kind of died down because people were afraid, except for those very edgy, satirical, sarcastic channels and shows that were, late night TV equivalents. But even they got fined from time to time. And I feel that right now the whole YouTube and Twitch and everything, all of these platforms are not safe. I feel that they're not safe anymore.
Well, I must say that if you take the long view of things, like I'm more of a history person, if you take the long view of things, almost all authoritarian regimes, whether it doesn't even matter what kind they are, and you got to let the details of the actual localized events kind of disappear from view and just take the long view of the thing. All of the rise of all authoritarian regimes is accompanied by the persecution, if not imprisonment or murder, of intellectuals, cartoonists, editors, writers. All of the free thinkers and wrong thinkers are the first targets of authority. And I don't think this should be it's happening very slow now. Come in. It's happening very slow right now, and you can't really tell. Oh, hang on. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, sure thing. So, Rand, what do you have to say about this, man? Or Rookie, or anyone? Rookie, I haven't heard of at all.
Yeah, go ahead, Rookie.
Sorry, my mom's vacuuming me. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Did you manage to catch anything?
Okay, good. Because sometimes she'll be on the phone on the other end of the house or something, and the mic will pick up. So I'm like, God damn.
Did you manage to pick up what we were discussing?
Yeah, you said about like the censorship of ourselves and whatnot, and like how we have to watch everything that we're saying because they could take you off the platform. Right? Was that
right
where we were?
Yeah. With the whole what's it called? The whole Twitch platform. Yeah. So you know the story. I'm pretty sure that you know. She just said there are two genders, and bam, Twitch just said you're offensive. And I'm saying, okay, are they going woke? Is this the right expression? Are they going woke? Is this?
I feel like a lot of companies or businesses or people who own certain websites and whatnot, I think that they're not sure of what to do right now, because right now it's so painted. Like if you allow this person to speak that way, then you are also saying the same stuff that she is. You're representing it, and so they just see the PR, I suppose, and react quickly on it these days and try to snub it out before it's too late, and if anything be known for, oh no, we're welcoming of everyone, sure. And I feel like that's kind of where it is at the moment, and I feel like in a couple of years or so, companies and businesses and people will start to kind of go, okay, so we're not horrible for allowing people to express their opinion, whether it's woke or not. I feel like it'll catch on that that's okay for people to express their shit without without kicking them off a platform because she said there's two genders
That's
and
the thing.
somebody got offended.
She didn't go on to attack and say, "Hey, she didn't rant about it." Pun intended. she didn't go. She didn't go and basically set up this platform to talk about the transgender community or preach about genders being only two and that stuff. She just made a mention. It's like me saying, you know what, I hate Coke. I hate Diet Coke, for example. And then YouTube says what you said was very offensive to the refreshment company community, or I don't know what crap. I'm just giving an example. So, or I could say that, hey, she didn't say I hate this, but I could say that there are only three kinds of Coke. Now that I believe that is more correct. So I can say that there are three types of Coke: zero, light, and regular. And someone might get offended by that, and then YouTube or Twitch or whatever platform I'm on might say, "Hey, you were offensive to the community of Coke drinkers or whatever." I don't know. I know it's a shitty example, but if this was a serious issue, I'd have a much better example to go along. You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And it's just, I guess it's a part of the offense is never given, it's taken. And I feel like so much offense is given everywhere these days. Like, if I said that I'm going to wear a black jacket today, like, that alone could trigger, like, at least 10 people and go, you said the B word or something. What? Black? Okay. And, it's just, I feel like that's all it is. It's just reaction right now. And I guess when people react to things, other people I try to like get. This is when sides come in or support. Like I see some people I know in real life that like post on Facebook about their weight loss like every day, and they just want the attention. They want people to say something. So I feel like when Twitch is banning this person off from their platform because of just something she said as she's passing by, basically just a nothing statement, just a thing in the breeze.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just
You
to,
don't feel safe. You don't
have
feel
people
safe.
quickly go, oh, look how good they are. But now so many people realize that it's not the way it is. You can't just kick someone off because they say that, because then, okay, well, so don't voice your opinions then. And then it goes to this huge thing of being allowed to speak and, how much of things are controlled. And a lot of the woke people or SJWs, I think that they are kind of confused on what they actually want, because they're like, oh, it's all for freedom and so everybody's safe and happy, but they're creating restraints and restrictions and borders, and they're not really realizing it, like segregating things more than they should, and making people look more different than ever. Like I never once growing up thought of any of my friends as like, oh, that guy's my black friends and those are my Mexicans. Like I was like, those are my friends, those are my other friends. And if they were to ask me specifically who I'm talking about, I could say, yeah, the black dude over there, yeah, the Mexican guy over there, that guy, that's what I'm talking about. And that was no offense. No one ever took it that way. And then growing up, like, after I graduated, basically, God, everything has to be pointed out. And, if you point it out, it's bad. And if you point it out, though, for whatever, like, oh, yes, we must treat them like they're special with things. It's like, well, hold on, guys. They're normal people. What are you talking about?
That's the offense. You see, I made a video that I haven't posted yet. I'm basically talking about, how the whole SAW movement was how it works. I really don't want to expand on another, SCW talk again because we have so many interesting things to do and say. But right now, it's because of Helena's stream. You see, a quick note. When I told you about this Coke and Delta Airlines thing that was going on, basically, I retweeted this from Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I'm pretty sure you must have caught this from him first, and then me last. It makes sense to have been that way in that order. So basically, there was this picture of two napkins on Delta Airlines by Coke, where basically they were trying to get passengers to mingle and talk
I
to
heard of that.
and not only they must apologize for it because it's creepy and something like that, they didn't ask you to stalk you when you get home from the grocery store, you dumb. Anyway, yeah, I could go on about this, but the thing is, what's happening is it's so silly, it is so stupid, and what happens is that with all of these SJWs that say, well, Black Lives Matter, for example, and why I'm emphasizing on this is that if you look at the real demographic of SJWs are predominantly white males and females. White males, white male and female feminists, or SJWs, or leftists, or whatever you want to call them. So they are against white people, and yet they are the ones that are causing the problem. And they think that black people or white people, or brown people or Asians or Caucasians or any other skin colors except for white are this poor minority that cannot speak for themselves. And these poor people, and we need to speak up for them. And black people are very energetic, okay, and they're like, get the fuck out of here, I can speak for myself, what are you talking about? So in that very tweet, if you look at at least the first 5 responses, you will see it was made from black people. So you can understand that they know that this whole W thing is a stupid thing. Okay, they don't need us to defend them. They don't need to be defended by anyone. They can speak for themselves. Everyone can speak for themselves. It's like what Obi-Wan said about the separatist cause. He said that if every system could stand up for themselves, this war would never happen. And this is basically what's going on with the whole SJW movement.
I'm trying to imagine like a group of people speaking out specifically for white people before the wokeness, like, oh, straight white people, yeah, praise them, they need help, they're victims. I feel like if this was like a couple years ago, I'd be like, what the fuck? It's like,
never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's like I think it's kind of funny if there was one, but then it's like I don't know. It's just that's what I think about other ones for other people too. It's like, well, you guys are treating them like they're less than us. Like,
yeah.
Really, they're like.
And they think you're doing them justice. That's the thing. By treating them like this, they actually do treat them like shit, and they're not justifying them. They're actually treating them as if they're invalid. I was actually running some statistics today, and all of these people claim that all of these minorities and all that stuff, but you have to know that predominantly, for example, I've seen that lately a lot of cases of domestic abuse aren't women that are victimized, but a lot of men are victimized too. And the reason why these statistics don't come out in the front is because, first of all, and I swear I'm changing the topic into something more, something happier that we can all discuss. What happened is that if you go to the police tomorrow and say, my girlfriend beat me up, and you have all of these bruises on your face and she just took a baseball bat and went at you, the police would possibly disbelieve, they would have disbelief at first. They would discredit you and they'd be like, are you sure you didn't get into a fight with someone else? Because I don't think a woman could do this to you. They would have no idea how violent that woman could be, and some women can be violent and overpower an average-sized man. It is possible. It can happen, especially if she is armed with like a baseball bat. Anyone is dangerous. So,
yeah, Mary's in the chat, man. She'd beat you up with her shotgun, man.
I'm pretty sure that she's on par with what we have to say because she's a very reasonable person. Hi, Mary. So, what's going on is if you switch that and a woman goes with basically nothing onto her face and basically her makeup is just a little flaky and she goes to the police and says, my husband or my boyfriend or my brother hit me, they'd be like, just get in the car, let's go and arrest that son of a gun. So that is systematic. That's what they call systematic tokenism. And You see, so the real victims in some cases can be men, but no one is actually talking about it. So they won't talk about it because they were trying to empower women in this way, which is not empowering them. This is actually discrediting them. But that's a whole conversation for another day. But yeah, we do have male victims as well. We do have cases of homicide where a man has been killed by a woman, and there's nothing more dangerous than a woman that wants to avenge a man. Trust me, you can get a guy fresh out of prison that can kill you. A man that has been serving 20 years. I would fear a woman that wants to avenge me more than a man.
Yeah.
Hey man, you ever watch that show Snapped? It's all about like women that killed their significant other or some shit. Like for real, like they set it up or like they manipulate, like they do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I completely believe what you're saying, bro, for real.
Well,
Sometimes I look at my wife and I'm all like, yeah, like since you're watching the show, I'm already a step above. Like I already know to look for the signs.
Mike, what were you about to say?
oh, I was just going to say, I've have some personal experience with that exact situation, actually. But in any case, we won't dwell on that anymore. Did we?
That's why we're wearing this, man. Hide the scars.
No. Well, in any case, everybody's got their stories. I think that people can be people, just people. I think people can be horrible no matter who they are.
Yeah,
and
that's true. So you
sadly,
want to
people are horrible to each other every day. So it's just the reality of life.
Yeah, I firmly believe in the Joker's philosophy. One bad day can turn you into him.
Yeah. So I think that Mike had something in mind to discuss, but I cut him off. I'm sorry. What was that, Mike? I guess he's kind of muted.
I just keep it on mute so it doesn't interfere with anybody else.
Yeah, it's okay. What did you want to say?
I wanted to talk more about that Twitch situation and also, the other relative news that's going on with Twitch with what's his name, Jonathan Chung or something, or Thomas Chung, who was arrested as well. I mean, it's not been a very good week for Twitch,
Yeah. Do educate us on the subject because I have very little to no knowledge about this guy. So what is it about?
In other Twitch news, earlier this week, a man named Thomas Chung, 32, arrested by Georgia police in what they called Operation Inception, all involving a Super Bowl Sunday kind of a child pedophilia ring, kind of a sting operation that went on. In addition to 169 other people during an 11-day effort. And this person here, Thomas Chung, I mean, obviously in a list of people responding to charges, I mean, the 168 other people over here, he is a particular person, isn't he? So he's well known in the community at Twitch, full-time high-res studios, which he established. Games like, you guys might know Smite or Paladin Strike type of thing. So in any case, it's not been a very good week for Twitch, and I haven't read too much more on the situation. I got like 3 or 4 different things that I'm following all at the same time, but of course that was kind of depressing, just bad. And these are all the people that are the virtue signaling people, and it's just very strange. They're always trying to throw labels around to make things, just throw as many around until they stick, and it always seems like a boomerang. It always just seems to go right back around in their faces. It's just very strange.
Right. Boy, that's a story, man. I never knew this.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So
that people would do, huh?
I'm just gonna go grab my coffee. I'll be right back.
Sure thing. Rip, I haven't heard anything from you, man. What's up? What?
Oh,
Dude.
Sorry, man. Yeah, what's up? What's up? Sorry, man. I'm here. I'm just kind of zoning out. I've, been in and out of streams all week, and I just, I'm hearing you.
Oh, you're feeling the burn, man. You're feeling it catch up.
So where were we talking about the John Cox thing? Is that where we were at?
Yeah, on his
Twitch.
video with the whole Twitch thing. And the question that I asked the whole panel, I don't think I might have forgotten, but do you guys think that? Yeah, I think I asked it. So I think that we need to tread very lightly in a way. We're very moderate as a group, but I don't think that it's, you don't want to stir the pot if you're not willing to take the consequences. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that some of us can actually lose their shit and start voicing their opinions in a very aggressive manner. Anyone can do that. It's not a first, and it's not difficult to do. So I think that we're a very moderate panel, very moderate collective fandom that voices their displeasure with what's going on lately. But I think that with all of these little situations, the other one that I also found out, I remembered another tweet that said there was this woman that had her baby boy, and that baby boy under a she was this obviously woke person, and she was like, she's basically been shaping her son to be a future snowflake, that's for sure. And she said, "Mom, on these Kleenex wiping things, I think they were wet wipes." And so she said that, my baby boy asked me why they're called man-sized instead of human size or something. Is it only for men? And she's like, this is the awareness we need to rise for future generations. Why is it just men? And they get offended by expressions like mankind. They're like, they shouldn't be calling it mankind, it should be people kind, because man is offensive. And the reason some people are, that is just ignorance. I believe that's ignorance, and some people are just saying things just to be heard in a silly way, just to turn a few heads. So what I'm understanding from this is that it wasn't the child that asked the question, because the kid's going to be like, "Mommy, can I have another icy, please, Mom? I need some water. I'm thirsty because I'm high on all this sugar and I really need to calm down." Or, "Mom, can I jump into the swimming pool with my underwear?" That's the kind of thing that a 3-year-old boy, as she claimed, would ask, not, "Mommy, why are they called man-sized?" So she's using her son to get a point across. And that is using your child, and that is, um, I have no word for it. But anyway, so what happened is that her complaint was why they're called man-sized. So basic biology, basic anatomy of the human species is that men are genetically much larger than women. I don't know if that offends some people. I don't know if my channel is going to be deleted, for tomorrow. But the thing is, um, if we were like, I don't know, maybe dinosaurs, T-Rex females were known to be bigger than males. So if that was the case, yeah, I would be on the same page with her, and I'd say, yes, man-sized is wrong because females are bigger. So I guess that, yeah, fuck logic. So let's just carry on with the whole stream and stuff. We have some very exciting things coming on, guys. We have some news for episode 9. I think that Hayden Christensen has been filming scenes for coming back as a Force Ghost. Now, prequel trilogy and its content and all of that stuff. Do you think that we're going to be getting a new situation where J.J. Abrams basically is going to do a Zack Snyder kind of thing and shoehorn as many story points um, uh, as he can into one movie, just like what happened with Batman versus Superman? Now, I like that movie, but I do feel that he could have taken his time to, like, the death of Superman wasn't necessary. He could have expanded on the Dark Knight Returns story a little more. But basically, what happened was, we all know this, he kind of shoehorned a lot of stories at the same time and stuff. So, yeah, that's what I have to ask. Do you think that them shoehorning all this prequel stuff in the sequel trilogy to tie in with the originals, do you think that's going to be like forced? Like, we won't have time to breathe? Mike, what's your take on this?
Well, I hope that it doesn't feel. What was it that one of the Cannes Film Festival critics said on their first review of Solo? If I don't know his exact words, but I'll just paraphrase. He said something to the effect of, "It feels like it was a filmed Wikipedia page."
Yeah.
And if it was, and I got distinctly that feeling when I watched it on Netflix, and I can tell you that You know, if they think that going to Wikipedia, for example, and trolling through stuff that they say is not canon and sticking this and sticking that and thinking it's an Easter egg or a fan service this, they think they're brilliant. It's not brilliant. It's inept. You know, I don't know how else to put it. Like, we can, if they think that just going through and learning the lore and just vomiting it out on the screen for us is what matters to fans who really are into the lore, well then again they've lost sight of something. So all it is a proving of the point that the people who should be making Star Wars are not involved in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said Felucia, they said Minoc and Bosk, so that's all. Yeah, good now.
Like in Solo, yeah, I remember that scene where it was panning out and he said, we could have used his own sisters, a Bosk, and you know that they just edited that in the last moment. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Hey, have any of you heard? I don't know. I can't remember exactly where Everything Star Wars found it, but he said that there was a new rumor out, and there's going to be Sith stormtroopers.
Oh no!
Don't know where that came from. I haven't heard that.
You know, that actually makes.
Sorry, from the Outcast. Did I Outcast? You know, with the Dark Trooper project.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, but my dad said he's not going to be there. So yeah.
It kind of makes
I
me
didn't
ask
read
a question about the name of the. You know, everyone's doing videos about the title.
Hold on, you gotta mute yourself, General. There's some kind of friction going on beside your speaker.
Is that
Yep.
Yeah, turn your vibrator off. No, I was kidding.
It makes me wonder. Everyone's doing videos about the title. But does it really matter? I mean, with the title being, I don't know, let's just say it's The Dark One, or The Return of the Sith, or just, you know, the Beyond of whatever. Does it really matter in the end? I mean, are we really even at this point giving a shit about the title because we don't seem to give a shit about the movie? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I have no interest in really talking about the title. I mean, I don't know why there's so many videos about it.
Yeah.
Clickbait.
Well, it's the same thing I've been saying all along. When George Lucas said, yeah, okay, fuck it, I'll sell it, they were like, oh my God, what do we do now? This is like, it's literally, it's just scrambling. Like they didn't have a plan. There was no plan. There was no plan for the trilogy. There's no real plan and coordination with video game, with merchandising, with, like, in the military, we have a term, it's called, you know, a cluster fuck. And that's exactly what Lucasfilm is. It's just a giant cluster fuck. We don't care.
Really,
he's right. We don't care about titles. We don't give a shit. Already, it's like the old Christian proverb, turn the other cheek. Well, we've done that twice now.
Yeah. Yeah, so the title wouldn't make a difference no matter what it's called.
No, honestly, Sith, I don't know if it was his idea or if he got that from somebody. Like, he had one theory about something in the film that could be in there. That's the only thing, like, about speculation for episode 9 that I thought was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, having the Knights of Ren maybe be the antagonist or something. I'm like, that's the best throw we could do here with what we got. Otherwise, I don't really care about even discussing it. You guys know this, or at least Flit does.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we're not very impressed. I think we can all agree there, gentlemen.
Yeah, is the rant still here? Is he coming in and out? Like, is his internet kind of sucking?
He's having internet issues. I was talking to him, so yeah, he's gonna come back. He's gonna try.
Okay, quit phasing in and out of existence, man. Just stay here.
Guys, I want to take a quick moment to shout out a few of our viewers. I want to say hi to Mary Vidalis officially. Thanks for popping in. Stig Johansson, D. Carre, and Rev Kev, welcome as well, and Josiah Rises, and he's the last comment that I have here, which says he made the text purple as a homage to Holdo. We all know is the greatest character and the best representation of woman ever in Star Wars. I mean, I'm literally oozing with sarcasm right now. That's amazing. But that's
we got Drunk 3PO too. Congrats, Drunk.
Hey, Drunk Preview. Hey.
Oh, Drunk 3PO's in here?
Yeah.
Hey!
Welcome. Always, this is the best place, my friend. I mean, I know that you got rejected in the cantina in episode 4, but you're always welcome in our spot, man. We do accept droids.
We accept them, but we don't serve them.
Oh,
Yeah. We don't serve their kind.
We don't take too kindly your types around here.
I think the
Well-
gold suit's gone to his head. I meant that toward Anthony Daniels. Sorry. Yeah.
Guys,
What do you guys
I
think?
am-
What,
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Grant. Go ahead, Rant.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Go ahead. It's a
No,
completely
you
different
phased
thing.
in. You phased in, Rant. Speak while you can.
I'm looking at reference concept photos right now, and Kylo Ren's helmet has like some weird red crap all over it. And it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, and Poe's supposed to have a new outfit. I don't know.
Can you like screen share, or is it are you on
That'd
your
be
phone?
Cool.
Hold on. How do I screen share again?
You
What
need to
the
watch
heck?
my video on how to live stream, bro.
Hey, I know how to live stream. I don't know how to screen
I
share.
know, but I show like every detail of it, like all the screen sharing, all the functions, all the stuff.
The ins and outs,
Yep.
the phasing.
Where the hell do I get to screen share?
Well, you
Are you on your
you're
phone or
a-
computer?
Yeah.
I'm on my laptop.
So
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, screen sharing.
Nice.
This shit right here. You see it?
Yeah, the red shit. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that's all about. And then there's like they said it's concept art. I don't understand. Like you see
Could be,
concept art, reference photo of a model. I don't know. Either it's fake or it's real, but either way, I don't like
looks-
it.
Looks like maybe Kylo goes to the Mustafar and gets in a fight with somebody, and maybe lava on his helmet or whatever.
Wait a minute.
If we have some
That sounds
sad,
interesting.
I like the L alien over here, the letter L1. That one's actually kind of cool looking.
I
Look
think
at
it's
me.
important.
listen,
That's
boys. If we have
Authority, right?
if we have some
Authority or-
sad scene, if we have some sad scene where Kylo Ren goes to Vader Fortress on Mustafar and has some sappy, crying, soul-crushing revelatory moment, listen to me. Like trying to find the rest of the armor or some shit, or go sit in his fucking back a tank or something. You know, I'm telling you, I'm willing to say right now, if that kind of manifestation crosses my eyeballs when I sit in that theater, I'm never doing anything to do with Star Wars again. I swear.
Hey, you know what? If I may, Rev Kev in the comments brought up a good question. He says, "How did Kylo Ren get his busted helmet off the ship that blew up?" So, like in the next, you know.
I
That's what I was
thought
saying.
General
That's not true.
Hudson.
Wait, that's not true. That's not true. Hold on. You guys got to remember. Yes, he took the mask off. Yes, he took the shuttle back down to Endor before the Death Star was blown up. Yes. But remember the Vader log, okay? The Vader Yule log. Luke put his helmet on in the shuttle and didn't let anybody else see his face. When he's on the funeral pyre, he's wearing his full helmet. That helmet came from Endor. It did not come from a blown up ship.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I thought.
Oh
he
yeah,
was
we're talking about
the
Vader's helmet.
Kylo.
Okay.
I think he was talking about the Kylo ship or the Kylo helmet. No.
Yeah. How
What do
did
you mean?
Kylo get his? Wait. Ask him. Rev Kev, who you talking about?
No, I think he's
No, the Kylo. He's talking about the Kylo helmet. He just answered back.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. You see, the Supremacy didn't blow up. The whole thing didn't blow up. Only like the left, or I think, yeah, it was the right thing that kind of. Oh my God! I just came up with an epiphany, guys. On the Supremacy, Admiral Holdo smashes specifically rams into the right wing of the Supremacy. Oh my God! Ryan Johnson is deeper than we thought. The right wing.
From our perspective.
Oh,
but from
wow.
The perspective of the ship.
Oh my God!
Guys, Rev Kev said the one that Kylo smashes on the elevator. He wants to know how he gets that helmet back.
Well, you see, the thing is that the Supremacy wasn't completely destroyed, so it makes sense that he could recover it. It wasn't like Starkiller based on how they recovered Captain Phasma from the crash compactor.
That's
But
it's going to be the first scene in the new episode, okay? It's going to be how the
But he smashed
Empire
the helmet.
invested so heavily inside all of this 3D printing technology. He can just, computer Earl Grey fucking hot. And there's another fucking
that's
helmet,
true.
right?
That's good.
But then again,
Yeah.
why would we wonder what the continuity of the helmet is when Phasma has come back from when she was dead? So,
True, right? Yeah.
and his scar changes from where it was originally. I mean, at this point,
Oh
his
my
helmet is coming back after being smashed and destroyed as normal.
So much, rookie. So much. You're right. Yeah. How
Hey,
did
maybe
you
that's where all the
survive
red
that?
marks come from.
Anybody want to do a 2.5-hour session of the Star Wars role-playing game with a bunch of new characters that we just made up and write a way better movie than Lucasfilm will ever be able to produce in the next 20 years? Nice.
Oh yeah.
It could be Kool-Aid. It could be Kool-Aid, Rant. I don't know. Spilt it, trying to drink it. That's my guess.
Yeah. Hey, Rev Kev, you're not a nitpicker, man. That's what we all are. That's what we all are.
No,
I know, right?
You see, you have a problem that we all have. He has the problem with RevKev is contagious, and we've all got it. We have the need to make sense, And since we're reading the comments, I really want to read this one where Stig Jan says, Poe will be wearing a shirt that says, I mansplained to Holdo. Oh my God, that is such a great idea. Flip, you have to make this into a t-shirt, please.
Which one is it? Who said it?
Stig Johansson at little
When the supremacy got hit, right there.
Yeah, no, just before that, he's like he says Poe will be wearing a t-shirt that says I mansplained to Holdo.
I see it.
Oh no.
Genius. That is
I know a
genius.
way to get a T-shirt like that. I will work on that, man.
Dude, if you work on that, trust me, it's one of those. I'm actually buying two shirts. The one is from John Talks, where it says, "Don't drink soy, don't do soy," and the other one's definitely going to be "I mansplained to Holdo." This is ingenious, Stig. You're so getting credit for this.
Oh, you're going straight to hell for that one.
Heaven tell. And then we'll be there, and Kathleen Kennedy will be like, "So, you mansplained to Holdo." And she'll be like,
High fives all around.
and
Now,
she'll be like,
hold on a second, guys. Here we were talking about the FTL drive ship, flying into the right side of the cruiser, and look,
Yeah.
he's subverted our expectations again. Look, he's a genius. We thought he was an idiot, and he's a genius. He's subverted us again. Look. But I'm just gonna try
Faster than light.
practice FTL faster than light drive. I'm just gonna try and practice my screen sharing here. I want you guys to take a look at this for a second. Just speaking of that peculiar scene in the movie.
Absolutely, Mike.
See
When
that?
you screen share, I watch.
No, but can you guys see that? Can you read it though?
Yeah.
Is it big enough?
I'm
I
not
need
gonna-
glasses.
everyone
Face
gets-
up the screen.
everyone.
Is that-
Yeah. Okay. Everyone just.
All right, now I just want to say something here. Excuse me. Now, when is the last time that you guys ever heard of a multi-million-dollar budgeted movie go into a mainstream theater that we all recognize, where the theater not only had to put up the money for the showing rights and all of that total nonsense that we know the theater business is, but they also then had to take their own employees' time to print out and tape an explanation for a creative choice that a guy supposedly making $1 billion movie to explain this guy's creative choices. Like this, how can anybody think that this is good? Like I don't understand,
It's a desperate act, actually.
I'm trying to see what type of scene that they have no sound play, because in plenty
It's
of
when
movies,
they
I
are-
think they do that.
The,
It depends on the
No, but
moment.
if
I think it's the hyperspace thing.
if enough people are getting up out of their seats, okay, and I'm not talking about the second weekend and the third weekend. I'm talking about Friday and Saturday night when people are just going to see this movie for the first time. When the theaters have enough people, literally, do you think this note came out of nowhere? When people are going up to the desk going, I think during the movie there was a part that was, something was missing, everything, la la la. Oh, that's supposed to be in there. Well, if the audience didn't get it, are you really that hip? Like, I don't know. I thought it was stupid technically. I thought it, like, technically, you know, it's stupid. Faster than light drive shouldn't be able to be used like that in Star Wars. Pablo Hidalgo should have said, "Nope, we don't do that here." Right? He just should have said no.
You know, hey,
Second of all,
Mike,
the creative
I'm not
choice
trying-
to turn off the sound. You know, I don't
I'm
know.
not trying
Whatever.
to change the subject, Mike, but I really can't believe what Pablo Hidalgo recently said to Mecca Random.
Oh, I know.
I read your article. I know it was a little late, but I read it, and holy crap, man, that guy's he has real issues, dude.
Yeah, I know he does. The other day, I responded to a tweet the other day, and he took a little bit at me, and I had a few of his followers come and like and retweet my stuff. I think they were thinking that I was going to delete my tweet. I told him, I said, basically, I don't know I can't remember what his response was, but I told Pablo, I said, no. You and I are both Canadians, Pablo. We're already in disfavor, although it's, you know, for admittedly different reasons, right? So, you know, don't try to bullshit me here, right? Anyways, his followers seem to like that. I put up a meme to make people laugh, and they basically just debunked the meme, and that's really not the point of the meme, is it?
No. You know something? You said something in a different article, but I can't possibly find it fast enough or cite it. But maybe you can. But basically, that Pablo Hidalgo is one of the luckiest guys in the world to be in the position he's in. And overall, this is what you said, the gist of it anyway. And he's in one of the luckiest positions. He's made to manifest himself into these circles and to land himself the ultimate job of, you know, the all-knowing Pablo Hidalgo of Star Wars lore and such. And here he is, and making an ass of himself, arguing and fighting and slandering many of the fans in the Star Wars universe, I guess. But where does he get off, man? And how long before this jackhole?
You know, yeah, exactly. Well, you know as well as I do that there's only one person that can answer that, you know, truly.
Right.
But like I was telling you a few weeks ago when we first met with the fellas, I mean, it's a tragic story. Like I really had a very huge amount of respect for all these years, like many years, like since the fucking 90s. You know, like he did huge things for Star Wars fandom. He basically provided a skeleton, a superstructure and framework for a huge fan network to basically get together for that huge buildup that led to the fandom menace. I mean, that was incredible, and it was really good for fandom. You know,
sure.
He used to be such an incredibly talented and invested and enthusiastic contributor to the Star Wars universe, and now, sort of like he it's not that his welcome has been worn out, that he's just bored or something. I'm amazed. Anyway,
Quick shout out to Sith Kryptonian. Sorry, showing this in. A quick shout out to Sith Kryptonian for being in the comments. Thanks for dropping by, man. And again, congratulations for hitting 600 subs. Keep up the good content, my friend. And I really appreciate you stopping by. So,
hey General.
Yeah.
General. Also, let's not forget Immortal Coil just hit 50. He is my Stephen Wright.
I have to approve this comment. Yeah, true. Right. So, Immortal Coil, welcome. It's good to see you on the chat at least this time. It's always good to see you. Congratulations on 50 subs, and trust me, to say in Count Dooku's words, this is just the beginning.
It is just the beginning. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think Mike had ultimately wrapped it up with Pablo Hidalgo. I didn't know if you guys had any other subjects or if you wanted to reply to the Pablo Hidalgo thing. But
well, if you want me to elaborate, I certainly can.
Yeah, well, please do. Goodbye, Carrie Hart. But Sith says, what if he becomes the head of the Lucasfilm Story Group?
Then I think he better start doing his job like he used to, because I used to have a lot of faith and trust and admiration for him. And I really wish he'd get back to that Pablo. I really do. Because I don't know whether it's just the gang that he's forced to work with, and, you know, because he's in such a beloved fan's place, that he really does want to not let go. And I don't blame him. You know, who would blame him? You know, but maybe the environment is just so toxic that he just is playing along with how we're.
I think that.
And maybe that's why he's cranky, because he can't get it out. I don't know. But the point is that he used to be a really tremendous person, exactly where we are right now. And it's a wonderful thing that he got to where he was. He's done great things for the franchise that we all love, but something has changed, and it's not just the quality of the movies that we're seeing. Something's changed.
Money, maybe. Financial success maybe went to his head.
Business politics instead of just working on the art. I don't know.
Right. Politics are definitely infesting, and what's the word? It's become a disease in the industry. I mean, like you and I have talked, you are more on the Comicsgate side, and I'm all of us all find each other on the same side of the war, so to speak. If you had the opportunity tomorrow to be, maybe I'm really just saying this to everyone. If you had the opportunity tomorrow to be the next Pablo Hidalgo, and I mean that in a way where you have the opportunity to say, well, this is the lore, this is the legends, etc. You have to remember that you're fighting against a corporate empire and also trying to please the fans. So, hey, Rant, now what would you do, man? What would you do differently?
What would I do differently?
Sure.
Listen to people, like the actual fans, instead of money. That's all I can say.
I agree there, Rant, because it's already proven. No, I agree there. Remember, we used to say Star Wars is the unbreakable brand. You say Star Wars, you label slap it, you got 1 million people in your seats on Friday night. It's just the way it is. But it's not like that anymore.
No, it's not. I mean, I wish I got to experience how it was. I mean, I remember what it was like for the prequels. I do. But I wish I was there for the original trilogy, because that's when it was really like all about it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to tell you a real personal story about Star Wars and me, because I was a little bit too little for the very first one. But for Empire Strikes Back, I did go, but I was still pretty young. And when the bounty hunter, I'm going to tell, this is for everybody, so I'll give you a little piece of personal info, and everybody will understand, hopefully. I think I was only like 6.5 or something. But when the bounty hunter scene comes up, where Bosk and everybody is standing over the officers' docket up on the bridge, and Vader's talking to them, talking to the bounty hunters. That's right. That's the scene where I started to cry and I had to go home.
What?
Yeah, on Empire Strikes Back. And then the next weekend I came back with my big cousin and I watched the whole thing.
I had a similar story with Bug's Life.
No,
Bug's Life, really?
where the grasshoppers start stomping into the anthill or something. I was like, oh shit, I'm out.
Hey, guys,
oh my God.
I am sorry. I gotta dip out. My laptop keeps messing up, and I have no idea why.
All right, yeah, maybe you have a flash paradox and you're phasing in and out. You gotta tell us, it's too soon. Too soon.
General Catan. I'll be like, what did I do?
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Seriously.
Great to see you, Rant.
Thanks for dropping by.
We'll see you a little bit later, Rant, Mr. Roboto.
You can't replace me, Seth. I can't be replaced, Seth. You're not as funny as me. Bye, guys.
Stay classy, but mostly stay classy.
Tonian wants on.
Anyways, we did want to move on to that Kiri Hart thing. I already had something up here, actually.
Yeah, bring Sith in if you want.
Okay, I will. All I just need him is to DM me on Twitter his email address. I'll also send him.
I got it. Give me a second.
I need the email address because for future streams, so I can actually have easy access to I have this like a notepad list where I keep all of my guests and their emails, just in case. And
you could also create a message group in Twitter and then send out a link, and that way some people can get invited that way too, and you don't have to send the link out too much or do the emails for everybody.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That doesn't sound like something I do. But anyway.
I think like for Flip, like he needs to have the email directly to him, but most people are on their laptops, and you can just send a link and they can just click in. You only have to do it once, and they can pop in whenever.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I'm about to give it to you, dude. Hold on.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So
And
while you guys are doing that, for anybody that's in the Fandom Menace that's listening, obviously, if you don't have Disney Star Wars is dumb on one of your websites that you check frequent news with Ichibaka, then you're missing something definitely. So go and check that out. Itchy's been with the Phantom Menace since the very beginning, obviously, and he contributes actually a little bit over to Bleeding Fool, but he also runs for the majority of most of the time. This Disney Star Wars is dumb. It's like another related site on our side of the war, as Flip was saying earlier. And so you're definitely going to have to go check out the massive amounts of material. And I'm pretty sure that he has a couple of people that are helping him compile things, because the amount of screenies they have from a spank bank there is absolutely incredible. If you're looking for the nasty things that Pablo Hidalgo says or Ryan Johnson tweets to people, it's all here. You just have to take a look around, and they've archived pretty much everything. It's a pretty glorious primary document of the experience of the last 16 months, let's say.
That's right, guys. There's bleedingfool.com. You've got Mike Rogers, Robert Starcraft Willing, Nerdette, and Itchy Baka, and many others. Of course, I love Mike the most, and you should too.
Well, thank you, Flip.
Of course.
In any case, he's got an article here from where are you to? Well, actually, this is all the articles about her.
Welcome, This is my first time actually hosting Sith. How you doing, man?
What's up, guys?
Sorry.
How you doing?
Didn't even see you come in. Welcome.
Thank you, man. I don't think we've met before.
No, I don't think we have. It is nice to meet you. I've followed along with the boys with some of the shows that you've done already when I was researching to come on the first time, so it's a pleasure to meet you, man.
Oh, likewise.
Sith again? I'm just kidding.
Oh, God, Rookie's here. Damn it, that guy's on every stream.
I have 3 of the founding fathers of the Fandom Collective. Fun fact, actually. So,
Okay,
yeah.
Sith. So you hold the vote in my book for the best movie title for episode 9, and that would be Return of the Sith. So welcome.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Yeah. By the way, your little theory. I don't remember if that was your theory or if you said that was Star Wars theories or Star Wars Explains theory with the Knights being the antagonist. But that sounds like the best theory so far. The only one that I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So actually, it was a Stupendous Wave video, and he said that he had heard news, quote unquote news. It could be a Mike Zero thing. That that the Knights of Ren actually are going to be the main villains of episode 9 and force Kylo to have to team up with Rey again and leave him vulnerable. And I kind of go into that in my video, and I kind of expand on it. So I think it would be
on Screen Rant, actually, Sith. I didn't know
it was on Screen Rant first.
Yeah, I read it on Screen Rant, but yeah, I didn't know it was on Stupendous Wave. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, so I think it'll be the best way to introduce the Knights of Ren in episode 9, because if they just try to introduce them as just, Kylo's subordinates, it just it's kind of dumb at this point, because it's just like it's just like why wouldn't someone like Kylo, who's trying to prove he's powerful, not have them with him at all times? Why are they just showing back up now?
Did you guys hear that theory that it's the Rogue One squad, that they survived the planet thing and were frozen? Yeah. They get unfrozen and hit, brainwashed or some shit, and that's why we haven't seen their faces or nothing, because they're similar shapes.
Do you want to know the best theory out there?
Wait a second. Say that again. What?
they said that the people from Rogue One, so like Cass, Jin, whatever the other names were, the blind guy, all of them survived the thing on Rogue One, and they and then they get frozen.
Rookie, stop telling us this. We're losing brain cells.
That was somebody else's thing, not mine.
Oh, Sith, I'm about to destroy it completely. I saw on the exact same channel, way before The Force Awakens came out, that Kylo Ren was Luke Skywalker, because there was this dinner talk show thing where Mark Hamill and J.J. Abrams were on the same table, and he said that he wouldn't mind playing a villain in Star Wars, and boom, Kylo Ren was supposed to be Luke Skywalker.
Ah.
Ew.
I
Here's what I heard. I heard the guy they hired to originally. This will throw some wrenches in your gears. I heard the guy that they originally hired for The Force Awakens worked for 4 to 6 months, and I think they were 2.5 months or maybe just 6 or 8 weeks away from pre-production.
Yeah.
The writer?
And
Are you talking about Michael
Arndt?
Arndt?
and he didn't have a script, and so therefore they kind of quietly gave him the boot, and JJ had to basically write the whole thing in like 6 or 8 weeks.
Michael Arndt had a script.
Yeah, here's what I heard. I heard that George from the beginning had his sights set on JJ directing Seven, and he and Michael Arndt had a script already
Exactly.
before they sold.
Yes, and we already heard that that's all been tossed.
Yeah, they tossed it. Yeah, but there was a script.
No. I'm talking about once it was in Disney's control here. Once Disney is working.
Oh,
This has nothing to do with George. No. I'm talking about the guy that they hired to begin work on The Force Awakens. He has a certain amount of time the year before to create his script and all of his work.
There was another writer.
Pre-production crew needs to start making arrangements. They have to start buying equipment. They have to start building sets. They have to start all sorts of things. Primary photography and filming can't begin for like 8 months. There's a shitload of stuff to be done. And so they're waiting on this script. They need to know what they're going to be able to have to do. And I heard that 6 or 8 weeks before pre-production began, he still didn't fucking have anything. So JJ had to actually throw everything together. So if everything seems like a fucking ripoff, it's because JJ really didn't have a fucking choice. And he's like, God damn it, I've been left in a lurch here. What do I do? Well, he did a pretty good job for 6 or 8 weeks.
That makes me think that maybe JJ could. I mean, the way you put it like that, it makes me feel like JJ managed to pull off The Force Awakens, because I think all of us kind of liked it. Except for the ripoff part of it. So could JJ pull this off? Could he pull it off with the right writer?
Well, what if the guy was given enough time? What if the guy didn't have the political pressure inside the story group to be pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling? Like, what if he could just sit down and write a JJ story? Because I mean, look, there's favorites and haters and all of this different stuff, but the man does good work. Okay.
True.
right. My thing is though, the fact that he's jumping in now, and after all has been said and done with The Last Jedi, I think it's too late for him to be able to pull off what he would need to pull off. There's just too much left for him to do with this trilogy.
And Sith, don't forget Chris Terrio.
Yeah, still, it's not something they can pull off in 2.5 hours.
Right. Well, you know what I heard?
Yeah.
What'd you hear? Bird is a word. Bird. That's my favorite song.
Nice.
Everybody's saying, I heard this or I heard that one. I heard this. I was like, oh, dude, perfect.
Hey, rookie.
Uh-huh.
Never mind. I'm not gonna say it live. I have to behave. I'm not on my channel.
Good answer.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of birds, we got Caitlin in the chat. So she says, nah, Sith is much uglier than Kylo. Can't be him.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't have Dumbo ears, okay? Let's get that straight.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, we can't prove that.
Well, Caitlin is upset because I didn't send her a death stick this month because she didn't tune into the Senate.
Yeah, well, I don't know. If you guys have got a deal going on and one of you broke it, that's bad business.
Yeah.
But actually, when we get off air, can I talk to you in private? No, Piggy.
To me?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, did I do something wrong?
No, those death sticks. Dude, those death sticks.
Oh, I got you.
Moving right along. So over at Disney Star Wars is Done. Ichibaka has and speaking of Kiri Hart, obviously, February 2nd, 2019, we have a Lucasfilm throws Kiri Hart down the memory hole. And in case anybody's curious as to what that's a reference to, he obviously references it immediately. It says, memory hole in George Orwell's novel 1984 is an opening in a wall connected to a chute, which then connects to an incinerator. The chute is inside the wall so that all can be seen all that can be seen is the opening. Think of a laundry chute. So in any case, they throw Kiri down the memory hole, apparently. And so I just want to read this first little part to everyone because it's actually kind of interesting. And I thank Itchy over at Disney Star Wars is done very, very, very nicely for putting this up for us. He does a lot of good work. I discussed in a previous blog post how certain clues seem to suggest that Kiri Hart left Lucasfilm sometime in July or August of 2018. And this was about the time that Solo, a Star Wars story, was crawling out of cinemas, having been thoroughly disgraced as a flop. But some traces of Kiri Hart remained online. In a late update to that blog post, I noticed the following. Only one thing is for certain. Lucasfilm definitely does not seem to want Kiri Hart's name on Lucasfilm.com. And to test that theory, I did the following. I found a brief MP4 file on a Reddit thread which demonstrated that Kiri Hart's name remained on the website in a somewhat hidden area of the site. I posted that MP4 on Twitter and tagged Lucasfilm and Pablo Hidalgo. You'll have to click on the tweet to see the MP4 media. Hey, Pablo, you missed a spot. Could you be clear and retweet that? Thanks a bunch. The very next day, that hidden area was removed from the website along with Kiri Hart's name. Now, a new discovery has been made. So when you scrub the site and you're trying to remove things, Itchy basically said, hey, you missed a spot over there. And the very next day, oh, look, it's gone. And so it's just a very strange thing. And like Itchy is speculating that it was maybe in July or August of last year. And so the question that really remains is, as General Katarn can tell you, the very first rule of leadership is everything is your fault, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You take everything on you. Everything is on you.
That's the reality. And Kathleen Kennedy is the leader, okay? I want to know how one of the most celebrated and glorious women of color who's in a position of power was slowly and quietly, wiggled out of the scene without anybody noticing, while the leader, who's the rich white woman, keeps her position. I'm really curious as to how that can be.
Here's my take. It was brought to my attention by Odin that not only was Kiri the head of the story group, she was also a VP of development. And I always say that, with Kathleen, the combination of us not seeing her, she's been radio silent. The person who she pegged to be her successor is now gone. I think that by the end, by 2021, we're gonna have a new head of Lucasfilm. I think the writing's already on the wall for her. I think we're witnessing a regime change, and I think that all they're doing is waiting for a suitable replacement. I don't even think that even if Episode 9 makes $2 billion, that Kathleen still keeps her job. I think that it goes far beyond just the box office of Star Wars. She's ruined the IP as far as merchandise and toys as well.
That is so true.
But it's not too late. So what if what you're saying is absolutely true? And I agree with what you're saying, absolutely. What if Lucasfilm was actually to admit some mistakes instead of trolling the water and taking such time? Why doesn't it just admit mistakes and get the fans back on board? We can help with the rebuilding of the brand. That we're part of that. And so I don't understand.
That's an optimistic look at it. I mean, remember who we're dealing with. If they do change the title, if they do, if we find out the title, if they do change Kiri Hart and Pablo Hidalgo and remove the story group and start asking the fans what we want, I would be on board with what you're saying. But I just don't. I don't see that happening. I want to. I really want to.
No. They know what we want. They know what we want. They know what we want because they intentionally do. They intentionally do what we've already said we don't want in order to troll us.
Yeah, I think that we may have already gotten an admission. I know the Iger interview is very vague, but a lot of what he said is just PR speak for, we fucked up and we're course correcting Star Wars. I don't think that any head of PR worth their salt would recommend to a studio or to Disney like, hey, I'm sorry to the fans, we messed up, we did. No, they just continue and try to give content that fans would like better because they're going to face big backlash from the media if they start coming out and saying like, oh, we've removed Kathleen, we're writing the ship now. Then it's going to be all about how Bob Iger, the white male, is pandering to, the MAGA supporting toxic white Star Wars fans. That's going to be the whole narrative, and that's going to hurt their sales from the other side.
Yeah, and anytime they apologize, it's an admission of guilt, apparently. So then they don't think, oh, so you don't support women, so you don't support minorities, so you are, immediately that would be the thing. So they can't just outright say it. They have to go, well, we'll try to do it the way we can. We're sorry, but wink, wink. They're trying to say it without doing it. So obviously, I guess.
But they haven't removed. They haven't removed Kiri Hart. They haven't removed her completely. She's still a quote consultant. And I can tell you, being in sales my entire life, when a consultant comes in, it's not good. It's just not. A consultant is still actually sort of a promotion in many sales jobs. So that worries me particularly if they're putting her as a consultant. Now, I do agree that if they're making her publicly seem to be out of the story group, but the rest of the story group is a bunch of douchebags too. Should we be happy? Where does it start?
Well, let's start off here by saying I'm just going to say quickly, it's not a story group. It's a group of activists. It's a group of activists. Yeah. They're not interested in stories. Let's be realistic here, and then carry on with whoever was speaking. I think it was you, Seth, maybe.
Yeah. So I agree with you in that on its own in isolation, Kiri being removed is not enough. I think that at least, I think Kathleen would brag about it. She was like, 6/8 of my story group is women, or, whatever, like-minded folk. And Kiri made it clear from the beginning when she did that interview saying, I want to make female Star Wars characters that are real. That's my goal for the Star Wars universe. And it's just like, if Kiri's out, I just really feel like they don't remove Kiri unless they intend to really change the direction of the story group. And I will say, because that's a great point too. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Scout Trooper guy.
Mike.
What's your name?
Mike. Yeah.
Mike. Okay, cool. Yeah. So Mike makes a great point. It's all going to depend on who they fill her role with. That's going to state their and signal their intentions to the fan as far as the story group goes. Because if they replace him with someone like Filoni, or honestly, even to a certain extent, Pablo Hidalgo, just because he's had so much experience.
No. He doesn't have any business experience at all, and that's the reason that they don't want to go with Filoni. Filoni would be perfect if he was partnered with somebody that had a lot of business acumen. Then Filoni, if he had a real good co-pilot,
I'm talking about the story group though.
Yeah, but
not
see, the
head
story
of the studio.
I think Dave Filoni should pick the story group, whether he's the head of Lucasfilm or not. Whether he's the head of Lucasfilm or not, I think he should pick the story group.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it should be Dave's choice, and I think Lucasfilm should at least give him enough respect to entrust that responsibility with him, because I don't think he would do a bad job, and I don't think anybody here is going to disagree with me.
As a matter of fact, I made a video on this.
We all agree that Pablo is definitely not the right guy.
Pablo should have gone before Kiri. If Kiri, what if the possibility exists that when Kiri said she really, really does want to make genuine, truly heroic female characters, that really stand the test of time and are truly inspiring characters just in their own right. And what if the activists on the story group just thwarted her because she didn't toe the line either? What if?
Well,
we're never gonna know. But I do know that Kiri Hart's already working somewhere else. So this whole consultancy business is all just that's what we say when we let somebody go and we don't.
Oh yeah.
Right.
She's already working.
I'd agree.
It's PR speak for that she's not part of Lucasfilm in any official capacity. But I just want to say with Kiri, if you watch her interview or read her interviews, it's very clear that she is of the activist mindset. At least that's what sticks out to me, because she just hits all the signs of someone who is in the way that they speak. But I will say too that,
well, I agree with you.
I would prefer someone like Filoni and the head of the studio, not the studio, the story group. I don't think they will, but I will settle for someone like Pablo just because he's been around since back when George was in charge.
He'd have to change his mindset.
No, this is not going to happen, gentlemen. You need to go and check out Disney Star Wars is Dumb. You got to read some of the stuff that.
Yeah, I love Itchy. I read his stuff.
Oh, listen. Pablo has had a great run. Pablo needs to go. Okay, Pablo is toxic to the brand now. Pablo needs to be as far away from this as possible. It's quite obvious from his personal Twitter feed that he's lost all enthusiasm for it anyway. It just seems like a drag on his life at this point. So it's time to get out, like for us and for him.
That's a fair point.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
go
ahead, Flip.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, be that as it may, Pablo, at one point, we all looked up to. At one point, he has either fumbled the ball in the corporate arena, or he has fumbled the ball in the fan arena. I mean, one way or the other, this guy, I don't think he knows what he's doing from a business perspective. He literally is just one of us who managed to climb his way or finagle his way or manipulate his way. But I agree. I agree. He shouldn't continue because he has managed to take tweets, take his platform, and my God, some of the things I've seen him say. Just look at any one of Mike's articles where Pablo Hidalgo is the focal point. Go ahead, Mike.
He's overstayed his welcome, and we thank him for his service. But it's time to go. Like I said, I had a huge amount of respect for the guy. This is truly, like I said on another stream, it's truly a Hamlet's tale. It's a tragedy. Like the man got to where he is, and let's give him some credit here. He does have some business sense. He's been in the industry quite some time around some pretty big people that are doing some pretty big things. So I'm sure he's learned many things. I mean, he's not an idiot. So, but does he have the capacity to run a studio? No, just like Dave doesn't. But, we would feel very comfortable with Dave having creative oversight of something, because that's what's important. We know, everybody out here knows, that if the creative side of Star Wars gets back to the spirit of Star Wars, like we know that Dave Filoni is capable of representing for us, okay? If it can get back to that, we all know the product's going to sell itself, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, you're preaching to the choir about Filoni here. I love that guy.
Absolutely. And I mean, the people that are listening too that, might not understand the magnitude, like Filoni does capture the spirit of Star Wars in pretty much anything that he contributes to in that regard. So that's why people feel such trust towards him. It's because he feels it, like he feels the Force.
Do you think that if George was still in charge, he would have been head of the story group by now?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe only George can answer that, I would say.
That would have been the better choice. Like when that's their biggest mistake, Sith. They should have kept George Lucas on as a consultant, not Kiri Hart or Pablo Hidalgo, or even.
I think he was promised that, Flip. I think he was promised that, and then they sent him on his way after the creative differences.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. And of course, he was promised by Kathleen Kennedy that they would honor the characters he created too. A lot of promises, and yeah.
Yeah. I will say about Pablo though, just devil's advocate here. Would you rather Pablo be head of the story group while they're reshuffling Lucasfilm just for some consistency, or would you rather some new guy?
Well, I don't trust the new guy act anymore because, hey, Rian Johnson was the new guy on the block when episode 8 came out. And we all saw what that happened.
Yeah, that's my concern. That's why I would. Pablo's not my choice, but I would settle for him.
I would. I hear.
It's like J.J. Abrams, exactly.
I can't say I would settle for him because of what he has. He has attacked the fans. He has attacked everyone.
It would be an open revolt. It would be an open revolt on the fandom menace. Like, I mean, I know here where we're talking today, there's some ambivalency and some people are, benefit of the doubt and this and that. I'm telling you, if they did that, if Pablo was in an official capacity like that, there'd be an open revolt.
I feel like he's an ass kisser. I think
that you're onto it, Flip, and that's the point I was going to make. Is like he went after the fans because he was emboldened to, because the regime at Lucasfilm, they allowed that. I don't think the next person they have in charge of Lucasfilm is going to allow that kind of thing to occur. And I think that Pablo Hidalgo, you're right, he's kind of like a lapdog. Like under George, he didn't do any of this. So if you have someone in charge of the studio who doesn't tolerate that shit, then he's not going to do it.
See, this is where Mike came in about the whole leader thing. you see, when the prequels came out, some of it, I love the prequels, but it does have its flaws. But like Mike said earlier, he said that, you know, a leader is the first person to take the blame. So
Right.
George Lucas took all of the heat for the prequels. He took all of it, all of the criticism, all of the hate, everything. And that goes to show you that despite his mistakes, that's why the prequels get a pass and the sequel trilogy doesn't. I mean, the sequels look gorgeous, and the prequels do have clunky dialogue, but the story feels it's all about the essence of Star Wars, and it's closer to the fans than the sequel trilogy will ever be. I mean, do you know what it's like watching The Force Awakens and you have to see a lightsaber or the Millennium Falcon or a TIE fighter to remind yourself that you're watching a Star Wars movie? I mean, otherwise, I would have forgotten, and that's the case here. So yeah, this is the whole leader thing that Mike and I were talking about earlier. A leader can take the blame. George Lucas is a true-born leader. Kathleen Kennedy is not a leader. She couldn't take the criticism, and she just disappeared. As soon as push came to shove, she disappeared right after Solo. Never saw her on the big carpet again. Never saw her wearing a sparkly Star Wars shirt or the Force is female trash that she was wearing.
Pablo is, for lack of a better term, he is a corporate scapegoat. He is willing to play the side to keep his job. And like any of us, we would be honored to be in that position. Unfortunately, he became honored to a left-wing absolute left-wing extremist corporation. And I get why he's kissing ass. I get that. Do I think he really feels that? I think he is leftist, but I don't think he's
no doubt.
As that. I don't think I agree with Sith on the point that he's not as extreme as the others. He's saving his job, as would most people. I'd probably be like, I'd start my own YouTube channel and branch out and be like, yo, these peeps are freaks, but
these peeps are freaks.
He doesn't have the strength I have. I mean, he clearly doesn't. But
possibility also exists that they keep him very close because he's a disgruntled employee and they don't want him loose on the street.
That's true too.
Because he's got.
I don't know. They could just hit him with an NDA.
Well, he's already signed plenty of those. I can guarantee you that.
Right.
Well, if they brought somebody else in, who could it possibly be? Obviously, Filoni's off the table. Favreau is not going to do it. He's a very rich producer at this point.
Well, I agree. It's going to be a difficult choice, but here's the thing. What if instead of
Timothy Zahn?
Well,
good choice.
Instead of toxifying the fans and dividing the fan base, why not start making moves in the general direction to do PR does sometimes feeling out, seeing what's what. What if the story group had this person? What if the story group had that person? What if this person expressed an interest to blah, blah, blah? Because you know what, we're getting into a situation right now. We're getting into a situation now where these individuals that we've been talking about a little bit tonight have toxified the brand so much, and they've divided and pissed and infuriated the fans so badly that nobody wants to touch the IP from a professional perspective. Why would they want to get into a toxic pool like that? And that's what they've done. Not only have they toxified their fans, but they've toxified the brand where now, even if somebody wanted to come in and fix it, who wants to step into that swamp?
That's exactly why Kathleen got her extension.
You know, and this is a big problem. So, like I said, there's lots of things that are happening at upper levels at Lucasfilm that we don't know about. But believe me, this is a big problem. Okay, this was the Unbreakable IP, one of the largest private IP sales in Hollywood modern history, right? The Unbreakable IP that is now so toxic you couldn't get a director to volunteer to come and direct a film for you.
Well, no, this is where I think they should look toward the talent of the fans that love this property so much, like Star Wars Theory or Ivan Ortega, to at least participate in like building a group in a way. If they don't want to have any actual professionals that have been in the business, have people that are fans that love the project and would do it for free. Like they have done it for free, but pay them. Give them the support to do it. that would be a great gesture to the fans as well as for the business in itself.
Rookie,
I mean,
in 2013, they had a website. Lucasfilm put up a website, and you could apply to be one of the fans that they. This was really interesting. J.J. Abrams started this website where you could put in your 2 cents to say what you want to see, what you like about Star Wars, and what you want to see in The Force Awakens. Of course, we didn't know the title, but it was called the Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know, for lack of remembering connection.
Yeah, but listen. That's disingenuous. Let's just be realistic here. General Katarn was talking common sense earlier. If a director was to put out to the fans, "Hey, I want your ideas," can you imagine the infrastructure he would have just to go through the emails? Like, let's be realistic. We're talking about millions of responses here.
Yeah.
Some bullshit.
I wasn't talking about that. I was saying like scouting, like they look for it, not them.
No. I get you, but the thing is, if they start to do something like this and word gets out that this is, and it's going to, okay, is this just something to keep the fans occupied and hopeful and wishful thinking while they just do what the hell they want anyway? Because
that's what they did in 2013. That was just bullshit because they ended up covering it anyway the way they wanted.
Yeah, think about it. Like, if you want to,
would they really go through with it?
Well, that's the thing. See,
I think
that goes down to integrity, but I don't know.
I think rookie. I think that them going out and like, picking up fans to build like I guess you're suggesting like a consultant group would probably draw the same criticism just on the opposite side that we have about the story group. How, they really don't have the credits to be qualified to be on there. They only got the job because, they had a connection or whatever. I feel like that's just going to be the case with that. I think the best we can hope for is a fan who already is in the industry.
Yeah, I suppose. I was just trying to be the super optimistic for there, considering the actual established professionals don't want to touch it right now.
Yeah, well.
1 minute.
You know where I think that changes? I think that changes when the Game of Thrones people put out their trilogy.
Well, at this point, I'd say if they will, because I don't know what else do we know about it other than they might make it.
We know that it's in a different time period, and there was rumblings that it's going to target the older Star Wars fans.
Right, but I just feel like right now they'll say anything to get people to think somewhat positive.
No, this was from months ago.
Until we actually see like a picture or something of them working on it, then I'd speak more happily of it, I suppose. Like,
right, nothing's guaranteed. Yeah,
definitely happening. So that's like something we can guarantee with it. But yeah, I agree with you. If that does well, then yeah.
I guess, Rookie, my original question, and thanks guys for the amazing response on that. I've enjoyed this, but the amazing, the question was, would it make a difference? Would it make a difference at all if we got a title that said, does it matter what it says? Actually, could it just say the end?
Yeah.
Fuck this movie.
It matters what it says. It matters what it says because, contrary to popular belief, it always can get worse. Like if they put out a title called Rise of the sorry, it makes me nauseous. If they put out a title called Rise of the Resistance, holy shit, they're gonna fucking bomb that movie. Rise of the Resistance and the last film of the Skywalker saga. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't want to get started, but that's my point. Is like they have to. They can't afford. They can't afford to make any misstep in the marketing.
Yeah, well, and I wish you guys in the chat and out there could hear some of the conversations we have privately within the Fandom Collective. And this is just a sneak peek, but I'm going to have to agree. Like, if these guys put something out like Rise of the Resistance at the end of the Skywalker saga, that's out of left field. It completely doesn't work. Seth,
it's just like, okay, they're still not focusing on the Skywalker story in this trilogy.
Right. What if it's Return of the Skywalkers or Return of the Sith, Revenge of the Jedi? I'm just throwing some out.
I like all of those.
I think it should be Rise of the Raelins.
No, stop listening to Thug Life Jeremy.
We're back to Skywalker Ranch.
Ugh.
What if a Thug Life Jeremy's right?
If
Titty
Thug Life
milk,
Jeremy's right, I'm gonna jump off a bridge.
Star Wars titty milk discount. I don't know.
I will literally have boobs on a stream if they call it that.
Well, let's be honest and judge back to the original time before we knew anything that we know now after Solo and Last Jedi, and back to the Force Awakens. The spirit of the Force Awakens, the way JJ managed to pull it off, was in a passing of the torch. So, like, you know how we're talking about, everybody keeps saying the Skywalker trilogy. And I don't really know what that means, because if I remember back to the spirit of The Force Awakens, it was supposed to be about passing the torch. Now, all of a sudden, it's about a Skywalker saga finishing up. I mean, I wish it was to begin with, but that's not what it was.
That's why there were so many rumors about Rey's lineage being connected to the Skywalkers. That's what fueled that. Because this whole trilogy was billed as the final chapter of the Skywalker saga.
Well, the thing is that there was no plan. We all know that now.
Right.
And I guess really my point is back to what the general and I were talking about earlier in military terms. It's just a clusterfuck. They don't have a plan. They don't have any idea what they're doing. Instead of, like I said, just generating, maybe they can't listen to every one of the fans and decide what the best information is, because, like I said, that would be impossible. But there's a general.
How is Google pulling it off? I'm sorry. How is it pulling it off? Then I'm sorry. I'm trying to interject here, but I think
You're good.
You can't listen. You can listen to your fans. Okay, now some of them are going to be extravagant. Some of them are going to be fanboyish and say stupid things, but you can listen to the fans and give them what you want. We don't want Luke Skywalker to bring down a friggin' Star Destroyer.
You got Dr. Roboto there, General.
Yeah, Katarn, you cut off. I think the point he's trying to make is that we don't want to listen to, like, the fans who make these fan fictions about, Luke Skywalker taking out an entire destroyer fleet with the Force or something crazy like that.
Right.
Which I get, but at the same time, you have to understand what Star Wars is to the fans. You have to understand what it means if you're going to make your own story.
Yeah, the character development. That's the stuff you're talking about, or Katarn was talking about, is really video game stuff, bringing down a Star Destroyer. If they hadn't already done it, I'd say, yeah, really cool. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the Star Killer doing that. Played every game, both games anyway. But focusing on the story itself is paramount to any agenda. It's paramount to anything at all, and they completely missed that. Completely.
Yeah. And what I will say with The Force Awakens, I guess the way in which they were going about it being part of the Skywalker saga was Kylo. My real issue with The Force Awakens is Rey. I think that you set up the protagonist to not only not be compelling, but by the end, she undermines the person that's now the main villain of the trilogy, now that Snoke's gone. And I think that a lot of the problems, can be dated back to The Force Awakens. They didn't need to continue to be problems. Maybe they were intended to be the way they were, and then in 8, it was going to explain everything, and that was the way they intended from the beginning. But the fact is, because of The Last Jedi, I look back at The Force Awakens, and I'm just like, what did you set into motion here?
Well, that goes back to, all of us saying there's no way to finish, even you, Sith, there's no way to finish it all in 3 hours or 2.5.
There's no way.
There's no way.
The only way you could do it is if you split it into 2 parts and you have it lead into a new trilogy. That's the only way.
Right.
Agreed.
Just saying, by the way, Katarn seemed to have gotten kicked off his own stream, so we might only be up for a couple more minutes.
That's happened to me.
You know what that's
I do know what it's like. It sucks.
It happens to me too.
Oh yeah, Flip is in and out.
100%.
Oh, he's back.
There he is.
This happened to Lethal Lightning earlier also.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think it's Hangouts messing up.
I don't know.
Either way, Katarn, you there?
Welcome back, General.
Nah, he ain't all the way back yet.
Come back.
Mike.
This happened earlier on Lethal Lightning stream too.
Yeah.
Come back to where you won't belong. Love the Beatles.
D-Car's suggestion for episode 9 is Rise of the Pasty White Chest.
If we have any more, topless scenes or any more galactic Skyping, I mean,
I have a question for you guys. I have a question. Who had the better rack, the Merc Camel or Kylo Ren?
Merc
I'm going to go with Camel for sure.
Yeah.
Multiples, come on, boys.
All right, go ahead, Rookie. What's your pick?
I had to look away when the Merc Camel came on. When Kylo came on, I cringed, but I was able to still keep my eyes on the screen. So I'm gonna go with.
I'm sure you
Kylo.
were.
Is this? And I meant to ask. This is the politically the Mer Camel because it's a sea cow. That's that's what it is. It's a sea cow.
Whatever it is, I'm gonna answer for Angus and myself since he can't be here. No, I'm gonna answer for Angus and myself. I'm not sure about Katarn, but I found it extremely sexy in a very bad way. So yeah, but still much more of a better acting. A Mercamil.
Yeah.
He had more tone. He had more tone and range. That's for sure.
How about the Mercamil looked at Rey as Luke was drinking from the titty, and she was like, "Yeah, that's my man's what."
How did you guys feel about the fact that they could see each other through the Force?
I liked it.
My mom was so confused when they were doing that, watching it. She was like, "What the hell are they doing? How are they in the same scene?" Or something.
I liked it too. But Snoke admits later that he is the one who made that happen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but then it still happened after he died.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going with that. Yeah.
See, those scenes and with Kylo and Rey and their dialogue was probably the most interesting part of The Last Jedi up until it led to nothing.
Exactly.
Go ahead,
we
Mike.
can hear coming in from the Speed Force. You there? It's
Hello.
too soon. She's the king.
Come in, General.
I'm picking up a signal.
Hey, everyone.
We heard you say, "Hey, everyone."
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Hey, we heard that.
If you can't do Admiral Akbar, I don't know. I'm not a fan. You have to be able to do Admiral Akbar at least once.
It's a trap.
So, guys, I want to now that Katarn is back, I want to just speak very quickly. I don't know how much longer we have. I am enjoying this and everything. So Mike, you're on the Comicsgate side. Obviously, I did a video on your article, but let's go to your article specifically. Sad news: cosplay troll strangles self on live stream. What was the object? What was the point of Renfamous and Kevin Logan getting together on live stream there? What was the point of it all?
I don't know how to answer that. That's for them, of course, to answer. All I know is the point of my article was to say, leave this sad little person alone now because she's already gotten enough attention from us, and let's move on with making books again, basically.
Right.
But I don't know what their intention was to try to
defile EVS.
To maybe hack on a man without giving him a chance to defend himself, even though he made himself perfectly available. I thought that was a little disingenuous, and I think it was a little trolly. And I think that Kevin got what he deserved on Monday night when EVS finally made it on the show.
Right. I caught some of that, and EVS defended himself quite well, actually. It was
actually, he went on Kevin's show and literally disemboweled the channel in like 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It was glorious.
Is that stream still up?
Angus actually recorded it for us. God bless him.
Thank
yeah,
God,
there's actually
Angus.
a couple people. I think a couple people recorded the thing. It's saved.
All right, I need to watch it. So do I hit up Angus to watch it?
Angus
yeah, he's got it.
He has the best
I looked for it, Sith. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, he has the
Oh,
best
Oh, it's
video.
funny. EBS comes in drunk. He's like, "Hey, how's it going, man? What the fuck is up with the title?" Just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's gold. It really is. Kevin Logan. Hello, my name is Kevin Logan, and this is a Twitter, by the way. Hello, my name is Kevin Logan, and I'm officially the #1 ranked SJW in the fucking world.
Yes, Kevin, you are. Thank you so much for having Renfamous on your channel. We have this other guy named SJW Spider-Man, like Uncle Ethan said. We have SJW Spider-Man. Could you have him on next week too, please?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say Kevin Logan hasn't done enough to be considered #1 SJW. He hasn't virtue signaled enough.
Well, yeah, but see, that's what Uncle Ethan told him. Don't you understand, Kevin? Comicsgate doesn't hate you. We love you. You did what no one else could do. You had her on here to discredit herself. Thank you so much.
He really did. He really did. If you watch the entire thing, I mean, your article does describe everything very well. But I have to agree, before I even read your article, she seems freaked out, and she's random with her words, agreeing with Kevin Logan at will, almost as if to say, I have not prepared for this live stream at all. Renfamous tweet says, "I'm using your bullshit threats and harassment to make money for charity. If you don't like it, you can go report me to the FBI again, or perhaps die mad about it."
Yeah, well, when she can sit behind her keyboard and she can type things out and not have to face things on the spot live, she's very good at that. Plus, she has 3 or 4 little helper people that I'm sure that are sitting around happily trolling all day long with her. I mean, they can do an incredible amount of damage even though they're nobody. And that was the point of my article as well. She's nothing. What the hell is she? She's not an artist. She's not a writer. She doesn't contribute anything other than play dress up for conventions. What the hell does she have this kind of power in our movement for? It really is ridiculous.
You know why?
I mean, like I said,
you know why, in my opinion?
It's because we're on channels right now talking about her still. That's why.
Well, yeah, it's Comicsgate fault because they keep giving her a platform and a bullhorn.
Yeah. Well, in any case, my article was meant to finish all that. So if you look at the end, I hope everybody's happy. But can we get on with things now?
Yeah, just let her fade away.
Yep. In the end, you basically are saying you feel bad for her because she really has put herself in a pickle.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel bad for her. She said fucked up shit.
I feel bad for her about to be alone when her usefulness is finished. They're gonna just dump her like garbage, and that's gonna be bad.
You're right.
She is a human being. She is a horrible person, and I don't forgive her for the things that she's done. Don't get me wrong here, fellas. And I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say that she deserves what she gets either. I'm not going to say that because I don't want. I want to think about people like that. But she is a horrible person, and when she's finished with her usefulness with these people, they know she's a horrible person too. So they're just going to drop her like garbage, and then she truly is going to be alone, and that isn't a place that I wish on anybody. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. There's something deeply disturbing about watching someone strangling themselves while they laugh at you. What a show. And you know what? I agree with you, man. It is completely entertaining, but and I agree. Again, for the first time, actually, I don't bring this up because I want to continue her, oh my God, unneeded attention,
exposure.
Exposure. I bring this up because the article is amazing. You are on the war campaign because they love this article and they love you, man, as we do as well. We are all on the same. Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish, and then I'll ask you.
Well, we're all on the same side. We're all on the same side of the fence. We're all fighting the same war, just on different fronts.
Mm-hmm. So and see, a lot of people don't want to be involved with the Comicsgate, tag or the moniker or whatever you want to call it. And so, like another indie creator, a fellow that I've been in contact with quite a bit lately, Slick Jimmy. I mean, him and I, just when we talk in private Googles and stuff like that, we've gotten into the habit of more instead of saying Comicsgate, just because we really do want to identify everybody, even though everybody doesn't get along. And what we've started calling this is the indie sphere. Is what we've started calling all of us over here is the indie sphere. And that way people don't feel forced or compelled to have to adopt these the indie sphere encompasses everybody, all the portions of our different movements and all of our different interests and different directions.
So I guess
Right.
I guess what I'll ask is two questions, because there's a question I had before I wanted to ask too. One, what is I'm still confused that I've been hearing the name for some background. I knew about, I was following Comicsgate before The Last Jedi came out and the whole Star Wars situation happened. I used to watch your boy Zach, and I actually knew EVS before he started doing YouTube from DC and stuff. And I actually watched his interview with Zach before he started, focusing on his channel, on that topic, because he did used to do portfolio reviews and how to draw and stuff on there. But what is the war campaign? I keep hearing about them. EVS was in a big debate with, I think, his name is escaping me. John Malin was on there too.
Angeltine and Unranked Chevron.
Yes, on Ricada Law. What is the war campaign?
Well, it's just a kind of I guess you could say a cheerleader group and a satire and LARPing troupe, I guess. Really, it's satire and parody. Well, you have to have war campaign. I think all one word for YouTube. I think.
Okay.
Now, please keep in mind, I'm not part of the war campaign, and I don't. I like a lot of people think that they're an incredibly divisive portion of the Comicsgate part of the community, and in some ways, I can see why. And everybody has to be responsible for their own behavior and for their own actions, and that's the whole point of personal responsibility and accountability. But if you look at the movement, overall, I would just have to say the big picture, because you can look at the little details of the personal squabbles if you want to, and this person's a horrible person or that whatever, how people are, right? But if you just look at the wider movement, they bring an incredible amount of energy. They bring an incredible amount of laughter. Because, let's be honest here, boys. Drawing comic books and following along with that is really boring stuff. It takes a penciler a long time to draw a page. It's boring, When it's finished, it's great. But, the process itself, so that, they bring energy. They bring a lot of humor. They're basically just satire LARPers, basically. And they're basically just trying to inject a lot of fun and parody into the community. It's just that when people don't get their satire, because they have a particular sense of humor, it causes frictions with a lot of people. And there are people that really think they're a divisive force in the movement, and they really want EVS to disavow them in lots of ways.
Well, that came about because of the doxing accusations, right?
Well, the thing is that people that are involved with all sorts of different, people. Somebody here, I think, asked me that question in the first stream I was on with you fellas. Is doxing go on from both sides? Of course it does, because every day people are people, and every day people do horrible things.
Right. Yeah. And I will say too, I think you're right. I think everyone has a part to play in the entire movement of Comicsgate, just like everyone has a part to play in the collective or the Fandom Menace or what have you.
Absolutely.
But I think specifically on the Comicsgate side, it's been so much petty drama and infighting that I think it's kind of dulled the effectiveness of the movement, in my opinion.
Well, I felt like that before Christmas after this Ricada Law episode that you were talking about. I don't even think after that I felt deflated. I don't even think I touched the keyboard for 4 days.
Yeah.
So going into Christmas was I was bummed out. There's an article I made on coalitions that's only published, about 20 days ago, but I actually started it the night after that episode, and then I just didn't write for a week. That's how bummed out I was.
What's funny about it is this not this more recent situation with Kevin and Ren? Is this not more is it not more exciting? And I don't mean that in a good way, but is it not stirring up the bee's nest?
Well, the thing is
controversial,
in the movement, though, in the controversy realm in the movement, though, there's little waves of that every day. And
there's always something.
Those two fellas, that confronted EVS in whatever you want to call that, a debate before Christmas. You can take a 1/4 gram rock in a 20-foot pond, and you can drop it in the middle of that pond. And by the time the initial shock wave gets to the shore, the wave is 6 inches high. the movement overall, it's not we don't have a structure. There's no hierarchy. There's prominent voices, and people would like to say that, EVS is some big figurehead. No, he's got a very powerful voice. He really does. And he does a lot of work to support a lot of people every day. And he's trying to get a lot of stuff done himself. Like me and Flip were saying this the other day, there's a threshold for everybody in social media where, you have so many subscribers or followers. There's a threshold for everyone where you just can't do it by yourself anymore. And it's not 100,000. It's way before 100,000. It becomes so much to deal with the emails and the tweets, and you need help.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Would you agree? Would you agree that the entire Comicsgate movement is suffering because they didn't agree on a central message or agree on what Comicsgate was?
No, I think that it'll be successful because it is dynamic. It's not static.
But where does
Right.
it go, Mike? Where does it go,
What's
Mike?
What do you mean? Well, this is new territory. We've always had independent comics. We've always had independent creation in that way. We've never had a movement that is so pissed off that they've literally decided to build their own industry. So I can't tell you what's going to happen because there's all sorts of really awesome ideas and distribution methods and print on demand concepts that are happening. So I don't know. In 5 years, I'll be able to give you an answer to that. But right now, what we're trying to do is build a platform of distribution and support in the indie sphere, right? So that everybody can feel confidence and comfortable working from that platform. And like I said, the mainstream said that they didn't want us playing in their sandbox. So we said, okay, we'll go make our own sandbox. They throw a lot of sand, as you can see. But in 3 to 5 years, I'll have this conversation again, and we'll see how it goes. Because right now the foundation is just being explored, I guess you could say.
And Sith, as you can see, from our point of view, brother, we are looking at the Lucasfilm Disney situation, but we see right next to us there's another fight with Comicsgate, and you see where they're going into their own industry. And on our side, the closest thing we might have to that would be Star Wars Theory's Vader situation. But where do you see the Lucasfilm Disney versus the Fandom Menace collective going?
I see it going where it's sort of different because the comics as a whole, as a thing, is not just it's not just limited to Marvel or DC or those companies. Anybody can start a comic book company and anybody can make comics. On our side, though, we can't just start another Lucasfilm and start making Star Wars films because the property is owned by Disney now. The best we can hope for is to change the direction that they're going and make our voices heard loud enough through our money, through our voices online and stuff, and our ideas too, to inspire a change at Lucasfilm and let them know that no, we're not going to put our money if you're going to keep ruining the franchise we love. It's a little different at Comicsgate because it's so ingrained in the comic industry right now that making their own little industry to compete with them is probably the best way for them to change the industry as a whole. With us, it's a little bit different because we can't like make Star Wars films officially.
And
Right,
that's
Do you think that?
sorry, go ahead.
Do you guys think that it's intimidation? Why Disney won't actually allow any funds or?
Well, it's not just Disney that does that. I mean, there's a lot of really IPs have to protect themselves. They really do. I mean,
True.
So I mean, there's a really good part of that. But the beautiful part about George and why Star Wars is so huge, why you and I are having this conversation right now, is because George allowed the creative freedom of other individuals to flow through his product, through his own vision. And he allowed a little bit of, look at the Cops Trooper video, right? Where they say right at the end, thanks to George Lucas for not suing us. I mean, I think the Robot Chicken Boys do that too, They obviously talked to George. George obviously thought it was funny. It's a lot better than the Christmas special, that's for sure. So, Well, let's be honest, right? And so I think that because Disney is such a global, like their legal department must be absolutely insane. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily about, and this is, I guess, the problem again. It's not necessarily about creativity anymore. It's not necessarily about the crafting of the stories and of the legacy anymore. It's really about the industry self-protecting. Is
Yeah.
all it is.
Well, it's not just Lucasfilm. Like, film in general protects their IPs no matter what. Like, you can't just make your own official Ghostbuster something either.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I guess that's the main difference between the solution for the Star Wars issue and the solution for the comics issue, because comics are an industry, Star Wars is an IP, and someone owns that IP. So we have different goals, but the fight is very similar. Very, very similar. It's about exposing what's going on, why it needs to be fixed, and what it's doing, why it's killing the thing that we love. And I think that's why Comicsgate and, you know, the whole Fandom Menace issue are so interconnected. It's it's very interesting how that happened.
And,
Well, I agree.
opposing the political agenda. I just want
Yeah.
to add that, opposing that.
Well, when you inject political ideology, it fractures. It's meant to polarize people. You know.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about a political spectrum with the person that was here one day. I was doing some, you know, historical crap, and I was working on this little graphic that I may show you guys sometime. But, you know, political spectrum moves like a pendulum, and
Yes.
sometimes as the society grows and moves, the pendulum swings in different ways. And we've gotten to a point right now where, you know, the person, you know, you always have extremes in society, and they represent less than 5% of the population on either of the extreme wings, right? And, you know, the person asked me, they said, well, how can we have this big communist revolution where all these people die, or a fascist overthrow where all of a sudden we have a European war and an extermination of a group of people? Like, where does this come from? How do these moderate people from the middle, you know, most of us, where do these people get their armies from? Well, they get their armies to join the extremes by dividing the middle, by dividing people, by splitting people. So, you know, when you see this going on in popular culture or in mainstream culture, it is a political act to divide and polarize people. It very much is. And so when politics is being injected into what should be escapist entertainment, you know, the place where people go to get away from this crap,
Yes.
you're really heightening a society's sense of alert about not just their entertainment and not just their politics, but about a great many things, because they can never relax. They can never escape. They always have to be on their toes. And that kind of preparation for a society usually only means a few things in history.
Yeah, I think that's very true and interesting. And I think that the only reason that this political issue that's going on right now, this culture war, so to speak, is a war, it's not because of the number of people that, you know, the country's not split on the ideology that's being espoused here. It's very clear that 90% of Americans don't believe in, like, the whole radical progressive intersectional ideology that's being espoused here. It's just that those people control the media outlets because they happen to reside in big liberal cities.
Well, the thing is, too, Sith, you got to remember, I mean, I'm in Canada. It's happening a lot worse up here than it is in the States.
You've got Justin Trudeau up there, my friend. He's completely destroying it.
No, Canada is very scary because it's actually become written into law now.
Oh, I know. I'm perfectly well aware. I live here.
You know what's funny about Canada historically? Because Mike, I know that you like history. Coming from a country that like 60, 70, wait, when was the 40s? I'm going to say like about 70 years ago, if my math and my history is correct, Canada had the whole probation thing going on. And, you know, alcohol was banned and stuff, you know, as a very strict policy. And if you look at 70 years later today, you get the same country that says, yeah, you want to marry a goat or something? I don't know. Go ahead, do it.
Wow.
You want to identify? You want to identify? Yeah, but the thing is, they will get there. They will. In Germany, it's already happening. It is already happening.
Oh, where people's people's choices are just who they're born as, and we have to accept everybody type of mediocrity. You mean?
Marrying
Yeah,
who you
not
want.
only that, not only that, objectophilia is legal in Germany. I know. Bestiality is also legal in
Oh my God.
recent. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there was actually this parliament member in Germany that had a relationship with a pig, and so he tried to push that agenda, and they said okay. Now, if all of the parliament members were actually into that stuff, I could say yeah, the majority won, but it was just one person. He suggested that, and the rest of the parliament members, kind of agreed to it. What is this world coming to? Okay, the thing is that in Canada right now, things are not as radical as they are in Germany per se. Okay, and coming from a country
Damn
that like
close.
70 years ago was, it is damn close. I mean, look at those two countries side by side. They've had a very strict policy a long time ago, which doesn't mean necessarily that they were bad. Okay, yeah, Germany did have the whole Nazi thing going on in the 40s, but generally, Germany was a very well-structured country. It had all of these
Even
companies.
though it
all
was
that,
split,
it had,
it was split east and
even
west.
though it was split, it had one of the greatest, and to this day, it has one of the greatest industries in the world. Okay, I mean, like you see that if you want something, Germany's quality of machinery and stuff it's off the charts, and in Europe, it's one of the greatest industries in the continent. And you see that this coming from the same country that was a powerhouse in Europe and still is. You're like, okay, if they're going to do that, what are they going to do? Are they going to try and pass this off to the other countries?
Yeah, I think that
And
be,
that's what's going on. It's scary.
I think that because it's so like in Germany, it's not so clear, but because we have the luxury of, watching all these different countries and it happening, I truly believe that here in America, it's starting to lose ground, and it's starting to lose because now the tech companies are being, held accountable for censorship now by the public. Um, the new generation coming up are more conservative than we've had maybe ever. Um, all it's doing is backfiring because we have the luxury of looking back at history and countries around us and saying, "Oh yeah, let's not do that. This person is a liar." Back in 2008, we didn't know what we were seeing. We didn't know that what we were being fed was propaganda and stuff like this. It's more
Yeah.
clear now than ever.
Yes,
So
that's true. That is so true.
I do think that here in America, politically, it is starting to. If you look at Trump's most recent speech, I think like 80% of the country approved, regardless of where they stood politically. And CNN had to actually say that, and it was hilarious how they reported that. And then they cut to Ocasio-Cortez, and she was just speaking like nothingness, like always, and it was just hilarious. But it is backfiring in this country, and I truly believe it's not going to work so long as we, remain, like aware of what's going on, and we don't give in to emotion, and we don't react in fear, and we don't try to elect people because of something
Fear.
that just happened.
That we
Yeah.
remain united and strong and honorable.
You see,
And
in countries like Sweden, it's different. Sorry about that.
you go ahead, man.
No, sorry. Sweden is progressive, but not in the SJW sense. It is a progressive country, and it has made amazing strides in society. Now, I do know that some people say that we do have some SJWs in Sweden, but Sweden has always been more progressive in a very, I don't know what sense to call it, but
You know what it is?
what?
The Scandinavian countries have had a big push toward egalitarianism. So what
Yeah.
they've done is, instead of forcing people to go into certain roles or impose equity, what they've done is they've structured their society in the Scandinavian countries in a way that it's the most egalitarian we've ever seen, where anyone can choose anything they want. And what they saw was, and it actually surprised people, because a lot of the progressive types assume that because they opened up all the equality in all the fields, that men and women were gonna, the divide between what men and the fields they went into and what they were interested in was gonna grow, was gonna, lessen. They were gonna, come as one and was gonna be equal. But what happened was the differences were more pronounced. Women went into different fields than men did, and all it did was prove that no, there are differences between the two genders. And when you have equality of opportunity, there's always going to be a gap in something because we're different. So they're progressive, but at the same time, they're not.
Well, progressive's one thing.
They're not
Sid.
radical progressive in the sense that, they want equity. They're pushing towards equality of opportunity, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
If I have a degree in pseudoscience, which is, ufology and such, and then another guy has a degree in biology of the ocean, and the job we're both going after is something to do with the biology of the ocean, obviously I'm not going to be looked at in the same way as that person. So if he's black and I'm white, or I'm black and he's white, hypothetically, do I get a chance to say, oh, well, that's racist? No, that's not right, man, because he just is qualified for the position over me based on, the obvious reasons, the qualifications.
Yeah. What that does is it encourages something illegal, which is hiring on the basis of skin color, which is discriminatory.
Makes it actually racist the way that they're approaching it. Yeah.
It's illegal. Yeah.
It is, but they get away with it.
Of course they do.
Because they're activists. They're
activists. It's these corporations that, they bend the knee to the media that could hurt their sales and stuff.
Oh well, yeah, the corporate angle, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we were talking about it. We were talking about the political spectrum earlier and how things, swing, and what you guys were just saying. Eventually, it'll swing back the other way, and that's already starting. I mean, Sith, you just mentioned the approval rating from the State of the Union speech the other day. And listen, I'm a Canadian, and I don't think it's very polite for me to talk about American politics or anything like that. But in the spirit of what you're saying, I mean, what you started with, I mean, in Canada, it is a very scary situation. And, I've screen shared this thing up here for you guys. I don't know if it's clear enough to read. It's kind of
I see it.
It's
Katarn, can you present it to all of us?
Yeah.
So the people watching can see just his screen.
And I can enlarge it that way.
All right, go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
Thank you. Polybius in 200 BC brought the description of ochlocracy into social awareness in his book Histories, and describes it as a pathological version of popular rule in which the exclusive interests of a group take precedence over the interests of society, almost at the expense of justice, which is what we were just talking about. The ancient Greeks distinguished the righteous and immoral government of the people according to whether the form of government acted in the interest of the whole community, which is a democracy, or in the exclusive interest of a minority, an oligarchy, or individual, tyranny, at the expense of justice. And the emergence of modern ochlocracia is connected with neoliberalism and is most troublesome, insidious, and dangerous to societies when the democratic role and involvement of the citizenry has been diminished and diluted to the electoral process. And that's really the only input end up having. And there are a whole lot of Western nations where the role that we have as citizens has been diluted to that point. And this is basically an outrage mob without democratic oversight that is basically, through social pressure, enacting these kinds of changes through shame and humiliation. And that is ochlocracy.
And they enact policy which forces the state to grow and grow until all you're left with is an inevitable, in a way, authoritarian rule. Because
dictatorial.
Not necessarily dictatorial, but authoritarian in that their role in your everyday life, in regulating your everyday life, expands, and your identity as an individual shrinks, because it's basically just this is why so many of them they have a propensity towards communism.
Agree with. They're saying what you can say, what your opinion is.
Right.
No,
under the pretense of the good of the group. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're even telling us how we should think. There used to be. Now, I'm not a God-fearing man anymore. I'm not ashamed to say, but I used to remember a time in life when the only person who could judge you for your thoughts was God.
Yeah. And you know what? In Canada too, specifically, and I'm only saying this because I do have family there, and I did follow the whole, the whole process of the C-16 bill and how it got put into place. The They use this twisted ideology of protecting a certain class of people as justification for compelling the speech of an individual, which is just batshit crazy to me and incredibly dangerous. And I think
Should be
that
to
Dr.
should be to
Peterson
everyone.
said it best when he said that it's one thing to censor speech and it's bad, it's horrible. But the only thing worse than that is compelled speech, which is what this bill allows for, because it says that you have to refer to another person as their gender. But on top of that, their gender is fluid, so they can decide and switch their gender anytime they want, and you have to adhere to what they tell you to
Well,
say.
That's not right.
No, wait. This is a technical argument here, and I agree with what you're saying. And it's his argument politically, politically science-wise, his argument has nothing to do with whether it's about gender or anything else
Right.
for that matter.
Right.
What he's talking about is, do any moderate people, and that's most of us, do we ever feel comfortable with extremes of anything? And so compelling speech or forbidding speech are both very extreme things for a government to do, right?
Right.
And the reason that we should be scared of either one of those things, because it doesn't matter whether it's one or the other. They're each equally just as dangerous because of the extremity that they represent. And once the
Yes.
government and it doesn't matter whether it's over gender identity or anything else, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Double standard cannot exist. If you open the door to compelled speech, then the door is already open to banning of speech, because it has to have its inverse in law. And since all Western democracies are all based on the rule of law, that opens up a very, very dangerous door legally and socially, as for the consequences for a society. And when they start talking about 1984 stuff, it really is bizarre that it's
Right.
the
And
left that is doing
and
this.
just to piggyback off that, I would go even further to say that, there's already a form of censorship in Canada in the form of hate speech and hate speech laws. And I think that,
Absolutely.
and case in point is Dr. Pearson put it plainly. He was like, who's going to be the person to decide what speech is hateful? The exact last person you want to be deciding that. Because think about the type of person that wants a position like that. It's only sociopaths.
Well, that's it. Control freaks.
Yeah.
And Christopher Hitchens said many fine years ago, I think in 2008, okay, anytime that a primate tells you something that a primate cannot know, then you should be suspicious.
Yes.
So
yeah, sorry, Qatar. And I go deep in politics and stuff. So sorry
No,
if I
no,
derailed
it's
it.
okay. No, the thing is, guys, the conversations are good. I mean, if I sit back and listen and I don't have the need to interrupt, that means that you speak for me in a way. And I agree with what you guys have to say. And holy shit, this panel is on fire today.
well said. Well said.
Yeah.
So I just to switch the subject for a minute, get off politics a little bit.
Sure.
Not because of disagreement, but just to move on a little. Remember Ryan Johnson's tweet making fun of Mike Zero? Then recently, Ryan Johnson deleted 20,000 tweets.
Yeah.
Essentially, Ryan lies, stating that he never insulted fans. What are your thoughts on this? Will Ryan get his trilogy on Disney Plus? Asked this to Viv yesterday, and now I want to know from my brothers. Sith?
The pessimist in me says that yes, he's going to get his trilogy. It's not going to be a Disney Plus trilogy. When I look at the interview where somebody mentioned that, it was almost like they kind of meant to say that, that's where it's going to live after it comes out. Could be wrong, could be reading into it. When I look at the recent news around Lucasfilm and the shakeups, that kind of tells me that, maybe he doesn't necessarily what his trilogy is not going to be what it originally was intended to be. It's going to be regulated if he still has it. It's going to be relegated down to something lesser. But as far as the tweets go, I don't think they're going to affect anything as far as his trilogy goes. I don't think that the company has time to care about what Ryan Johnson said to someone on Twitter at this point.
Oh, well, I think that's I agree partly with you, Sith. But on the other hand, if it didn't matter, then where are they? And it doesn't really matter because they're all been snapped to the archive anyway. And like I said, places like Disney, Star Wars is dumb. Everything that he said. We talked about Pablo being toxic. You couldn't think that it could get any more toxic. Ryan Johnson, it's beyond comprehension. Like he doesn't have a place in Star Wars anymore. And talking about Star Wars, television series or big screen stuff, we touched on this a couple of weeks ago. I think that the main storylines of the franchise should never leave the big screen. I do, however, have a huge place, just like the rest of us, a huge place in our hearts for the Clone Wars, Rebels, Filoni's types of projects. We were talking earlier about how does the Phantom Menace have some kind of an opportunity to be able to shine through in an indie sphere kind of a way, like on the comics side, and that kind of product, that kind of involvement on the small screen to be able to develop side stories and expand the universe like we had before is a perfect opportunity for fans to be involved in that way.
Yeah, and I agree with your point about, the main story not leaving the screen. Case in point, like, I always make this point, like, the story of Star Wars should happen on screen and we should see it. And then if you have like an EU or anything else, that should just be adding or expanding to the story that already exists. The problem with Disney is half the main story is happening in the ancillary material. Like, think about how much stuff we had to find out about The Force Awakens in the books that we didn't see on screen. Think about They're filling in gaps to the main story instead of adding to the main story that's standing on its own. I think that's the crux of the issue as far as their way of storytelling and the way they're going about it.
Character development, storytelling, sticking to the main George Lucas ideology.
Yeah, well, the thing is, here's the problem with the expanded universe, and believe me, guys, I'm a big EU guy. I was really upset. There's a lot of IPs over there that have existed perfectly fine under George Lucas that were published, 25 years ago of material. Now, granted, there's a lot of stuff in the EU that's a little silly. A lot of people have made fan editions, and that's fine. But there's an incredible amount of wonderful work in there. The novels, some of the video game lore. I mean, there's so much stuff to expand on that was thrown away, basically. And here's one of the reasons why, gentlemen, because those people are going to need credit, and those people are going to need compensation. And Disney doesn't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, it's so difficult because just like, why, like when they bought it in 2012, I guess this is more on the corporate side, I guess, but why not wait till you actually have a story before you go about putting out a trilogy? Why did they jump right? Like, I always say this, like, I hate when studios start a film with a release date. It's like, oh, we need to make a film that comes out. Okay, let's get something together. We'll see what we can make. Like, no, make a movie if you have a movie. If you don't have a movie, don't set a release date, because then you're forcing. It's the same thing that happens with the DCEU right now, which I really wish wasn't the case, where they have a movie like Suicide Squad, and it started with the release date. They wanted to catch up with Marvel and put out all these films, and they released that big, schedule like Marvel did. But then you force David Ayer to have to write and rewrite his script in the span of like 4 to 6 weeks, which is nuts to me. Like, don't make a film unless you have a film.
You force Ben Affleck to not put together the writing, directing, and acting Batman that he wanted to do as well.
Yeah, with the Batman, I think that had more to do with, because they are taking their time with the Batman trilogy. It's not coming out till 2021. I think with that had more to do with his personal issues in his life and kind of the box office results of Justice League 2. So plus
nice
his
way to
film
put it.
Live by Night flopped. So I think that put a lot of pressure on him, maybe not to direct the Batman film.
Yeah, no, that's a really fair way to put that. Because I do like Ben Affleck. I think
Same.
we all root for him, deep
Yeah.
down, no matter what his personal troubles are. Hey,
Yeah.
Sith, what do you think about the Taika Waititi article? And just in case you haven't caught up, he will direct one or more episodes of The Mandalorian. He will make them funny, a dad and son situation type action movie, film episode. He says it will be like the original trilogy, but with a flash of the usual vibe of Taika Waititi around the edges. What are your opinions there, sir?
Well, I mean, when he says a father and son type thing, that leads me to believe that maybe they're going to bring in Boba Fett. As far as feeling like the original trilogy, it's like, yeah, that seemed to be that from the start, from the synopsis, from the armor, from Favreau's take, who they have directing the episodes. They're really going for the original Star Wars here, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fans, like the fans not feeling like this new take is really Star Wars. I think this is part of Disney. This is part of Disney, putting out a feeler, figuring out, okay, like maybe if we do this, would this be something they like? And they're going to look at the response to that, and then that's going to influence the movies going forward. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about the Mandalorian. I think that it has a lot of potential. Um,
Taika
yeah, I don't,
Waititi, especially having directed Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, that
I
was
don't,
a success.
I don't that doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't need, I don't need an MCU Star Wars series. Like, we got too much of that in The Last Jedi. I don't think it fits. Um,
I can
Star Wars,
understand where you're
although
coming
it's like,
from.
yeah, Star Wars, although it appeals to like, you know, many age groups, I think that it really shines when there's a certain gravity to the situation of the world around them, and that there's stakes there, and comedy kills stakes, and it makes you feel like everything's going to be okay
He
because
does, Sith. He does acknowledge that, and this is a quote: Star Wars is a very different style to the Marvel style. End
okay,
quote.
well, that's good to hear.
Yes. He also continues, they know that the tone of the referring to the fans, they know that the tone of the first films really should be kind of adhered to. That's what the fans like. You can't really disrespect it. I can't put too many jokes in. This is literally his quote. I can't put too many jokes in. Definitely my tone is in there, but the dialogue and stuff like that. End quote.
Well, then, yeah, they sounds like they've learned their lesson.
Right, I agree. I'm so excited about Taika Waititi being a part of the Mandalorian, and the father and son thing, like you said, could be Boba Fett and his or Django and Boba, maybe.
I think Django's dead by that point.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah,
you were saying I don't know who
maybe Boba
Boba Fett
and
is.
if he had a kid or something.
That'd be cool.
I'd like to see an exploration of other Mandalorians aside from the Fets. To be honest with you, it is a planet. They've
Yeah,
got a
well,
huge
short of setting it in Mandalore, then this is the
If
best we
not,
can hope for.
if not a family of
if you
Mandalorians.
Well, no, but I mean, if you go to Wikipedia and you check out some of the background and some of the lore, I mean, some of the clan issues on Mandalore, some of the background histories of clan warfare and how certain families came to prominence. And I mean, the story is just incredible. I mean, if they would just use the material, I mean, they don't have to, I don't know. There's tons and tons of wicked material there. And I'm going to give it a fair shot, but if it's anything like Resistance, I didn't even make it 20 minutes into the first episode and I never watched another one. So.
Oh God, I hate that show.
Sith, I hate that, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Why
I
is it?
made it
Why does it exist? Nobody cares about the Resistance. I don't care. I don't care.
I made it a few episodes. That's about all I could do. But as far as Disney Plus goes, where do you guys stand with purchasing this? I know as YouTube creators, And come on, guys. Love you guys, man. Creators, we got to report. We do have to report. Where do you stand on the Disney Plus besides buying the subscription? Because whether you want to admit it or not, some of us will, some of us won't. But where do you stand on people in general, fans in general, buying the subscription, what they're offering? Katarn, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. Do you want to elaborate on how people buy subs? I mean, I've had this question lingering in my mind, and I actually wonder how it's possible. How do they do that?
How do they get Disney Plus?
Uh, you see, the thing is, how? Okay, you see, you have Disney Plus, and how are they gonna do that is now it is genuinely my question. How will
How
they
they're
do that? How will they do that?
how will they do
Yeah.
what though? What's your question? How
You
will
see,
they
how will they be able
how
to get people to get on the Disney Plus
Oh, easy. Easy.
platform?
What they're doing now. All the MCU stuff was going to live on there. It's no longer going to be on Netflix or anywhere else. It's going to be exclusively on there. Once they get the rights back from the cable networks for the old Star Wars films, the only place we're going to be able to watch it is on there, short of buying it. They're going to have they already announced MCU series on there. They're going to have they announced Star Wars series on there, and the Star Wars films after their theatrical run, they're going to be on the streaming service as well.
And, as far as you go ahead. Were you going to go, Rookie?
What was that? What was the question?
The streaming service. Are you on board? And this is
Oh,
not including.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably will, just because I'm kind of curious on the whole layout and what they'll all offer. If anything, I plan on doing a video once I get it to share what I think about it, I guess, and show the layout maybe. Somewhat, I'm doing a streaming versus disc series anyway, and this will be cool insight once I get that. I'll probably have my video up before the site comes out. Do you guys know what month they're going to release Disney Plus? I forget.
October, I think.
Oh, Jesus, wow! Thought they're going to do it sooner. Yeah,
It might be sooner. That's the last I remember hearing. I'm not sourcing it, so yes.
I assumed they tried to aim for summer because that'd be like a huge 2019. You got kids and everybody off school, then that'd be a prime time to release it for them.
Yeah, July makes sense to me. Yeah.
Because when I got Netflix, I did not do that much that summer. But
well, yeah, but nobody should be fooling themselves. And I guess really this is where I stand on the whole affair. Just pop out your calculators and take a nice even number, because in North America, I guarantee you the number is about 100 million. So take 100 million and multiply that by $10 a month. That's how much money Netflix just makes from subscriptions every month. And then you can ask yourself why they're able to support so many independent projects and pretty much do whatever they want. Netflix is so far ahead of any other streaming company in years of subscriptions and content that they have access to. There's no way that CBS and Disney are ever going to be able to catch up. And it's quite laughable that they're actually trying to put competition up for it at all. It's laughable. It's hilarious. They are so far behind the ball. Netflix has so much market share that for all intents and purposes, Netflix is the new network, basically. It's just that the rest of them don't know it yet. Like, we're talking about billions of dollars a month that Netflix earns. They don't have to listen to anybody, and they're laughing all the way to the bank, and they should be.
Hey, Mike, do you see Disney trying to purchase Netflix?
I don't think Netflix be able to be bought.
I don't think they should be. I think that if whoever is in charge on the board at Netflix, I wouldn't sell it for $1 trillion right now, cash. I wouldn't sell it for $1 trillion cash. Okay.
Nice. That is a super quote, dude. That is a super quote, and I actually agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like at some point, like what is a monopoly in entertainment? If Disney acquires Netflix, that's it. They control the entire market, or at least the majority.
I don't think Disney can afford Netflix at the moment. I mean, I know that Disney is very, very big, but I mean, they seem to be spending so much money right now before they earn it back with the properties they get anyway. So I mean, if they were to attempt to, it would have to be a couple years from now, of which I think Netflix will be like unbuyable by that point.
Well, I
Because
don't,
the company is failing, and they haven't shown signs of failing yet, as far as Netflix goes.
I don't know if I can agree totally with that, because you have to understand Netflix's whole model, the way it exists right now, is completely based on content. And Disney's whole concept of acquisitions and, global monopoly has been one of quantity. So we're asking to compare a banana to a pumpkin. Netflix's whole approach to doing business is something that Disney can't compete with because of the way they've built themselves. And I think it's just too late for Disney to buy anything out or to have any kind of influence. I mean, there was some kind of talk about that, I think, last fall. And you look at the MCU properties and the way, Netflix just said, no, thank you. We don't want you to take your Daredevil and everything else and beat it. And that's a real slap in the face to a place like Disney. Netflix doesn't have to negotiate with them, and they don't have to. They're in an economic position where they just don't have to. And CBS and Disney can scramble all they want to try to get some kind of market share in the streaming world, but it's just too late. Like it's almost farcical. It's too late.
You see, the one thing is, though, I still kind of see a flaw with streaming in general, as far as like we like it and we can like watch what they have, but they could have proper. I mean, like, we don't own any of those properties, and if you live in an area that's shitty with signal or something, then you won't really be able to watch it, or something happens to the company you can't purchase anything. You don't own it. And so they could take it off sometimes. Like, there's some properties that they've had on there that they removed. And if you don't own a copy, how can you see it? And people think that they have the movies that are on there, but they don't. Like, they can take it away.
I'm not sure. So, I think that with Turner Movies still owning the license to broadcast for the original trilogy, I think has really put a wrench in Disney's gears, because they could be using broadcast of that original trilogy to be able to pump their numbers, because that's the truly repeatable, like those are repeat views. Like, people are going to watch those classics over and over and over again. And for Disney not to acquire that in their original purchase agreement is really unfortunate for Disney, because in the launch of their new series, I mean, really, you could have a good opening weekend just on those original titles, to be honest with you, and especially if they were released in the original form, not the specialized editions. But
so, in taking the name of Disney into an interesting fiction name, I would call them, they are the Turok Makto of and that's from Avatar, by the way. Turok Makto of the industry, and they are looking to pounce on Netflix. Clearly. They want. Go ahead.
That's even given too much credit. That's even given too much credit. Like, I don't know. Do they have the assets? Do they have the assets available to liquefy to be able to approach Netflix with any kind of reasonable offer that they would take seriously?
I feel what I mean? It's either Warner Brothers or Netflix at this point, and I think
there's no way Warner Brothers has
likely. It's likely Warner Brothers, based on what I've talked to you about, Mike.
Oh, they'll try to get Warner Brothers first. I'm sure. I'm sure of that. That'll be, the next one. They've already been in negotiation.
Yes, but ultimately, Netflix is definitely in their sights. Otherwise, why bring up the Disney Plus streaming service? They want to bring Avengers from the MCU, and they want to bring up the X-Men and Fantastic Four as the next major, movie franchise.
They want.
Go ahead.
They want to compete with Netflix. I don't think ultimately they're going to try and acquire them, unless it was just to dissolve Netflix into the streaming service. But yeah, I think they just want to compete with them and take their place in the market. I think that's the goal of any big corporation like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well put. Yes. They are definitely a corporate monster. However you look at it, they are looking to monopolize the situation and bypass the monopoly laws of the United States of America.
Well,
They
I mean,
are. Go ahead.
I wouldn't know about the law part. I don't know if I would say that I would go that far, but it certainly is in the spirit of what they've done. And I mean, this isn't new. Disney's been doing this for years and years. It's not just the IPs that we like that this has happened to. I mean, they have intellectual property control over a great many things from history, as well as some modern stuff that they've acquired that has happened during our lifetime. So I had an original article, The Last Sacred Memory, that's one of my first on Bleeding Fool, where I talk about independent creators being very, very wary of the power that they can wield in our society, just like George did because he was pretty independent. I mean, he had to beg and plead to get money to make Star Wars. And that's maybe why he's such an inspiration, because he had to kind of do that himself. But, we have to, we just have to keep that in mind, that intellectual property rights of creators have an incredible amount of power in society, especially if it's something incredibly touching or moving. And to allow a giant mega corporation to essentially absorb the IP, sort of like the friggin' board, is to dilute the property and turn its interests from whatever the spirit of that work, of that art is, into a vested interest of profit. And once it becomes muddled in that quagmire of an IP that's owned for profit, then the storytelling is always going to take a back seat, because the only thing we can truly hope for is that the IP fails. And I mean, really, so that it becomes a toxic asset that Disney wants to get rid of. Because if Disney ever lets go of the Star Wars IP, I can guarantee you whoever buys it is going to have a serious stake in rebuilding that brand. And I think that when that day comes, people can truly be hopeful.
20th Century Fox is my vote. Anybody?
Fox?
Anybody else?
About what?
20th Century Fox. Like, who? If Disney absolutely gave up on the Star Wars franchise, 20th, or Warner Brothers? Who? Me, 20th.
That's it. 20th,
Don't they
because
own them?
Really,
They own them though.
Yeah, they own Fox.
Yeah, 20th and Fox. Yeah, sure.
I really look forward to
What?
seeing Deadpool doing a skit of himself being a Disney princess.
What?
What's that, Jenna?
I can actually see Deadpool doing a maybe a piece, or like a scene where he says, like, I'm finally a Disney princess now that Disney bought the rights to Fox. I mean, that is like so Deadpool fourth wall breaking that I can actually see it coming from my way.
Yeah, they'll make a joke about it for sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
yeah, I heard that I heard it's still going to be rated R under Disney, which is good news.
Hopefully, yeah.
And I hope, because we talked about this before, and I'll tie this into Star Wars in some way. But gentlemen, we were talking about this a little bit before. But I hope that the risk that they take, and maybe this is just a sign, I hope that the risk that they take with Deadpool, I hope they don't dilute that. I hope they really use that to show a new face to their customer base, because it's not just kids anymore. Disney, wake up, okay? I hope that they use that as one of the first true tests for their own selves, for their own trust and confidence, and whether or not they can get away with it. So that, like we were talking a couple weeks ago, we're never going to see another true lightsaber battle where there's decapitations or amputations the way there should be, just because of the nature of Disney family brand. I really hope that they can slowly, just very slowly and very gently, allow a little rebranding of their own self to branch in that way, so that the door is open for more darker and adult themes in the Star Wars universe, because there's many, many, many of those avenues to explore.
And that's where the money is. Those are the fans who buy all the stuff.
I agree. There's money there in the rated R Star Wars arena. Although how quickly we might see that, I'm not so sure. I would love that, though. Even
now, keep in mind,
Revenge of the Sith.
When you say rated R stuff, like, keep in mind, I mean, I do mean on the George Lucas. I don't think there should be nudity in Star Wars. I don't think there should be cursing and swearing in Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree.
Gratuitous violence in Star Wars. I think it should be good, clean family entertainment, but I don't think that it should hide.
Well, like
a lightsaber, a lightsaber should be shown To do the damage it can
Yeah.
do unfettered. Like a lightsaber duel is not something to be taken lightly. You will come out of it maybe not even a whole person. You know what I'm saying? Like we
It's like a
shouldn't see
samurai fight, Sith.
yeah, we shouldn't see
Absolutely.
we shouldn't see what happened on Star Killer where Finn takes a slice of a big lightsaber to his back and it barely cut his jacket and all he needed was a bubble suit and then now he's fine. You know what I'm
He
saying?
wakes
Like
up jokingly, water squirting everywhere. Ha ha.
yeah, Ray gets a scratch. You know,
I
like,
thought at the
stop.
end of that, after that wound Sith that he had got after the Force Awakens, that spinal injury, I thought that we were going to get a little bit of augmentation with Finn. Like that's
Yeah,
that's the
something.
direction I
Like
thought that's
Maul.
where we were going to go. Well, maybe not the extreme, but I mean, slow additions can be made cybernetically. I mean, first it starts with a hand, then it's a leg, then it's a whatever, you know, like
Then you're Grievous.
True.
look at the exactly
Also
the
extreme.
Hey,
But
don't
yeah,
compare
the
Finn to
back-
Grievous. Never
Sorry.
compare Finn to Grievous. I mean, like, dude, come on, Grievous. He had only one facial expression because of his face mask, but had more personality than Rey when she smiles.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a great villain. Absolutely.
General
Great villain.
Kenobi.
Hello there.
You know, I'm trying to make I'm trying to emulate the voice on my I'm trying to download the necessary, Audible program where I can actually emulate the voice as close as I can. So when I do that, I'm going to be doing like some maybe voiceovers or skits or something, because I am a huge General Grievous fan.
What about
Hey,
General Grievous versus Kung Fu Flip?
General
Oh,
Grievous was
hell
Kung
yeah.
Fu.
Let's do it. All day.
I will decapitate you.
Yeah, I can't do his voice, but you got it pretty good. Well, hey, how about this, guys? Moving to this, a reference to the C-3POs or Anthony Daniels' cryptic tease and possibility that the title to Episode 9 is coming out soon. And I referenced this based on Monday's Disney quarterly, broadcast, the quarterly statement for Bob Iger. What do you guys think about that? Is the title coming soon? Doesn't matter, obviously. We already covered that earlier. But is it coming soon? We're already
Well,
late on the teaser trailer, by the way.
I think the title's coming soon. I don't think that they would have been teasing it as much as they have been if it wasn't coming recently soon. Last night, Odin made a great point that Captain Marvel comes out in a month. So it's very possible that we're going to get a title, a teaser trailer with Captain Marvel, and then a full trailer at Celebration in April. So what
So
do you
you
guys think
think
of
that they're
that?
trying to strategically implement the title and the trailer so that the fans can somewhat start getting invested as we get closer to the release date?
Yes,
keep in mind-
and it'll get butts and seats for Captain Marvel, and it teases into the full trailer at Celebration, which coincidentally happens like in the days before Endgame comes out.
Well, I believe
So
that they're going to save the title release date, and that they're saving that to decide how the reaction is to the opening weekend of Captain Marvel. Because remember, guys, it's owned by the same company here, and they're going to buttress one against the other. Save a little bit of news to distract people in a good way if something bad happens in another way. They could be playing around with just using it to distract from something.
Do you guys think that what could be behind the silence and the care they're taking in releasing anything about Episode 9? Could it be because maybe it's split into two parts and they're trying to figure out how to market that?
I think that it's insecurity on their part because we're still giving them backlash about The Last Jedi. I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but I do feel that Ryan Johnson also coming out now and people calling him out on his lies. And generally what's going on with all of these shills like Brian Young and all these people who work directly for Star Wars. And so I think that they're trying to get their regime straight with all of these people, trying to manage the backlash and their side of the story as well. So, but I do sense an unusual amount of fear in these Disney shills because they were confident for episode 8. They were confident. I
Oh, absolutely.
remember, they
Absolutely.
were very confident for 8. I think that we got when did we get the title reveal for The Last Jedi? I think it was very early on in early 2017, very early on.
Oh, yes, it was in the early spring. Yes, for sure.
Very early on. And we got a trailer. I remember, I think it was April 16th. And I remember that because I was with my army bros that time, and we just finished with our service, and then I was heading back home to my girlfriend, and then suddenly I get a notification on my phone from YouTube, and I see Star Wars Episode 8 trailer, and I remember just stopping in the middle of the road to see to get the reaction, and the music was amazing, and then you heard Snoke, talk about when I found you I saw Raw and Take Power. I'm like, oh yes, 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 this is gonna be awesome. And I was confident. And if I look back and we trace back Disney's steps, they're not consistent. I do believe that they have fear. But saying also that they're trying to market 2 parts, I don't think that it would be so difficult. I mean, Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows had 2 parts. And the one was released 1 year after the other. Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame are basically 2 parts of the same story, and they're being released 1 year apart. So I don't think that it's that much of a problem for Disney. I do know that Ryan, I mean, JJ has gone through a shit ton of rewrites and rewriting this character and rewriting that character. And I do take what Sith, sorry, well, not what Sith says. Sorry, Mike Zero says with a grain of salt. All I have to do is just watch the titles of the videos that he says, and it gives me an idea. And one thing that I do know for sure is that he is rewriting characters left, right, and center. He's not confident. I believe that he is not ready. He's not confident in episode 9.
Yep.
Well, I can agree there. I think there is a lack of confidence, and hopefully, like they can never listen to individual fans, but they can listen to the spirit of what the fans are looking for, and hopefully just try to meet that somehow. And today is the first that I've ever really thought about or considered this whole, what if they split it into 2 movies? Now, if a director and a good writer were given the space to be able to do that over 2 movies, I think that they would have a fair shot of fixing and repairing some of the damage, because it would give them the latitude to be able to explore and explain things, to be able to smooth over some of the mistakes. And if they were willing to do that, and if that is truly something that's being considered, I can only hope that they try and do their very best work at it, because it truly would be something that could save this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that as to you guys as fans of Sith, the fact that they're delaying the episode 9 material in order to get us hyped, do you think that it's frustrating fans even more that we're not getting the news on the predicted time, on the expected time that we wanted it to have?
Could you repeat that?
What I'm trying to say is that, as fans, we're not getting the necessary trailers and material that we want to get, invested in 9 as much as we can. And a new question that just popped into my head: do you think that it's because they fear a boycott? They'll be like, yeah, so whatever, and an angry mob dislike on episode 9, just for
I think
boycotting it?
I think
Do you think
what
they fear
they
that?
fear is going about marketing the film incorrectly. I know that they're really walking on eggshells here, because they, like I said earlier, they cannot afford any misstep in the rollout for this film, because any hint of BS or even a misconception of something that might be BS or just looks that way based on how they marketed the film is going to have aftershocks in how people who are already disillusioned with Disney Star Wars are going to react to that. It's going to be very knee jerk and it's going to be very loud because we feel as Star Wars fans, we're at a point where we really don't want to be dicked with again.
Yeah. No, that's true. So in a way, they do have fear.
Yeah, of course they do. They just lost money with Solo, and their reports are showing that Star Wars merchandise, Blu-ray sales are losing money compared to last year. So this is literally a fiscal issue for them, and they take fiscal issues more serious than any other issue at a company like Disney. So,
Boy, could you imagine Disney in this kind of situation like 10 years ago? I never would.
no, I think that this is. I would say more accurately that I couldn't imagine Star Wars in a situation like this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Companies go through stuff like this all the time, but I never thought it would be because of Star Wars.
That is, when I look back and you think of all this prequel hate that people got and said, oh, that's what destroyed Star Wars. I didn't feel it. I mean, at times when I looked at the prequels, yes, there were some things that made me cringe about it, but it was some of the things that you could accept. I mean, like, whenever I watched like episode 1 and I see Jar Jar Binks on screen, it's like that's something I look forward to, but I just wave it off because I know that there are better things. I mean, like I know that I'm going to see Darth Maul, and then in Attack of the Clones, I know that Anakin's cringe-worthy dialogue is going to be followed by the arena scene, and Revenge of the Sith is Revenge of the Sith. So,
Well, with Star Wars, like with anything, because people are so passionate, when you hear about Star Wars and the stuff that they love, it lasts forever, and you're going to hear about it. If there's something they don't like, it's going to be memed and talked about over and over and over and blown up to a point where it feels like that's the entire movie, but in reality, they're talking about a portion of the film or a character in the film. And I think that particularly with the prequels, the media did a lot to help that. It wasn't like now where the media will call you toxic for calling out a fan you don't like. Back then, the media would gladly take part. I think there was like a CNN article making fun of Ahmed Best and Jar Jar Binks.
yeah.
Sith in the 90s, I went to a college. I was over here in the Americas, which you are as well. But
Yep.
I went there, and we had a special guest from Warner Brothers who was talking about Disney even back then. Well, he was a retired Warner Brothers executive. He talked about Disney even back then purchasing them, and overall, gosh, I believe it was 1994, and it was an interesting thing because as a right-leaning conservative, but also left in the form of I'm not going to get deep into it, but marijuana basically.
You said it right.
Yeah, thank you. But I sat in on the conversation and listened very intently. Blockbuster was a major player back then. Netflix.
Hey, Katarn.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, can you mute when you do that? Because I can't hear Flip.
Okay, go ahead.
Netflix had not surfaced at that point. They spoke of CBS, NBC, some of the sub. I can't think of the word, but anyway, some of the sub channels, so to speak. Anyway,
yeah, like flagship networks. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They had a lot of that in their conversation. They wanted to know where we stood. They wanted to let us know where life was going. And in my brain, I was like, this is boring. Why am I here? I don't want to listen. But looking back, I wish I'd stayed a little bit more attentive. I did stay for the whole thing, but only because I knew my friend who had the drugs would probably be there as long as this was going to last. But Anyway, I only say this to agree with where you guys are going. I see what you're saying, and the corporate entity is always going to be the corporate entity. We are only going to get as far as we can. However, our voice, our boisterousness is definitely echoing within the construct of what is Disney, Lucasfilm, and Comicsgate as well. That being said, the Super Bowl was an excellent opportunity to put out a quick 15-second video, showing that they are working diligently on the movie, a what we all consider to be really needs to be a 2-hour movie. I mean, a 3-hour movie, a 2-part movie. So what is, and we can start with Mike. What is your thought on the fact that we did not get anything whatsoever? And then, Sif, I'd like to hear your opinion.
I was just in the kitchen for the moment. Sorry. Is that?
Yeah. Basically, Super Bowl did not show any Star Wars footage. And actually, I will elaborate. In 2014, there was something, the title was I think it was in June or July of that year. And then the teaser in around Thanksgiving of that year for The Force Awakens. Basically, we are around 314 days away from the movie and still haven't got either a title or the teaser trailer. What's your thoughts on that, Mike, and then Sith?
Well, I think that somebody was saying earlier that they were very confident going into 8, and that much was obvious. And because of the reaction and then Solo, I think that there has been a lot of doubt thrown into it. And I think that now they're not quite sure of the decisions that they have made because now they're unsure of reactions. And I think just a general advice for them, I think it's wise for them to play it safe. I think they should think seriously about their choices and try to pay attention to the spirit of what fans are looking for. I don't watch football, so to me it doesn't matter whether it happens on Super Bowl Sunday or not. But the fact that we're getting a few months ahead and that there's no word yet is certainly maybe not alarming, but it is definitely worth noting, I guess.
Yeah, I guess just to expand on that, part of the reason why I like to throw around the crazy idea that it might be because there's a 2-part episode 9 coming is because a quick spot at the Super Bowl is going to be, first of all, not enough time to fully put to fully express something like a 2-part episode 9, or something that, that's something you have to go at very carefully, and you want to give yourself enough seconds to fully illustrate that in a way that is exciting for people. And I think that putting that much money into maybe a 30-second Super Bowl spot is probably ill-advised if you're going to go about it from trying to market to people that it's a 2-part episode 9 in a way where they're going to be able to digest that. So that was partly where my little conspiracy came from. As far as not taking the opportunity for the Super Bowl, I think someone in the Senate stream last night made a good point too. It's just like they don't know. Super Bowl spots are so expensive; they're like millions and millions of dollars. They're not sure anymore that they're going to get a return on an investment like that, because they made an investment like that for Solo during the Super Bowl, and the film lost them $80 million. So it could just be that.
What I wonder, Sith, is what with Disney, or should I say, well, no, Disney really, offering Warner Brothers a possible $93 billion for the DCU universe. What is a drop in the bucket for 15, 30 seconds of you know what I'm saying, of commercial activity for a Star Wars movie?
Right. That's Disney, though. It's not Lucasfilm.
But I agree with you that even still, and I like to think this, man, oh my God, I'm right on board with you. If it's a 2-parter, 15 and 30 seconds is just not going to cut it. You
Yeah.
cannot possibly.
You can't communicate it properly.
I would love for that to be the possibility, bro. I really do.
Me too.
Want that. Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about this before, and if that is the case, then sure. And I'm not holding it against them. I'm not going to say, well, I forgive them because they didn't because of this. But I definitely feel like if they are going that direction, that I get it, and I would only
Steps are
know
being made.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would only know that steps are being made later. But
well, yeah. Well, I
yeah.
mean, splitting 9 into 2 parts, it's clearly a step because ideally it would just be episode 9 and all the box office would come in one shot for a return on investment. Splitting a film into 2 parts, there's no guarantee that it'll be as successful. Like part 2 will be as successful as part 1 or vice versa. But it wouldn't be able to have that, that boost a film at the end of a trilogy gets for being the ending, and everybody wants to come see how it ends. But yeah, if they do split it into a 2-part episode 9, just because of all the reports that Kathleen Kennedy was against it, then I would know, especially on the heels of The Last Jedi, which kind of, didn't continue any of the plot threads from the first one. This is going to tell me that they're taking steps to tell a complete story, which in my opinion is a step in a better direction. And it's that choice to do that in and of itself is a step in the right direction, is what I'm trying to say without my Tourette's.
Oh no, yeah. Fuck what?
Well, I agree. I agree there. A good story will satisfy a lot of people without any of the pretensions that we've already been forced to endure. And if they can just pull that off, it might leave something for the future.
Yeah.
Any predictions for after episode 9? Like, what do you guys expect to see?
Ethan Van Sciver gets 100,000 subs in 2 months after it's released.
Dude, if episode 9 is bad, EVS and Geeks and Gamers are going to have 1 million subs.
Oh yeah. And what do you think, Sith? What do you think about all us new Fandom Collective Wave 2 guys?
Well, I know me personally, I'm not going to have a channel because I'm going to release a rant so scathing they're going to nuke it. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you'll be successful, but my ship is going to go down in a blaze of anger.
Nice.
You can make a mauler for there.
What was that, Qatar?
You can make a mauler, unbridled rage rant.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't have quite the eloquence and articulation ability that he has. So it's going to be a lot of F-bombs, and then I'm going to be talking about someone's mother, and then I'm going to be taken off the platform for hate speech or some shit like that.
Anyway, guys, I'm going to, turn the stream off and take a rest because tomorrow morning I have to wake up and go back to my dad's shop. We're moving and shit, and yeah. So, is there anyone that wants to plug in their channel just before we go off air?
Well, I'd like to plug the Fandom Collective, guys. We are slowly and surely moving up. Please do remember to follow us on Twitter. And if you do, please DM us your YouTube channel and your Twitter addy, because sometimes they are definitely not the same. Do allow for 30 minutes to, and I hate to say this, honestly, 8 hours, because we do sleep, to get your video up. But we do promise that, and we do adhere to everything that is within the fandom. We do love you, we do try, and we are buddies. So please try to let us know that you are there so we can let everyone else know you are there. Fandom Collective.
Awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Sid said. Can't stress enough just how much we believe in the collective and just how much of an effect we're having, not just on the Fandom Menace, but Star Wars as well. Like, in a sense, we're attempting to recapture the main goal of what the Fandom Menace, is. Like Fandom Menace, they did a great job, and we love them, and we're part of it too. You know, identifying the issue and calling out Lucasfilm rightly so. But with the collective, we're going to make sure that we also see it fixed. Like we reinstate hope into the whole thing, because if we lose hope and just go scorched earth, then stars will die. And maybe the whole main goal of the collective is just to, you know, help each other out and pick each other up and get more and more voices out there into the community, you know,
Yes.
because we're stronger together. So definitely follow the Fandom Collective on Twitter. Flip has been doing a great job with that so far. We're all going to take turns doing it. And as you said, many of us do like to sleep from time to time. So don't be alarmed if we take some time in sharing it. And we do have something big coming down the pipeline. So just, yeah, something, I'm not going to say it now because, you know, it's not ready. But once it is, look out for that. It's going to be something next level as far as what we're looking to do with the Fandom Collective. And, yeah, I'm just happy to be a part of it, and I think that I'm honored to have helped start something so great. So, yeah.
Nice.
And
Thanks, Sith.
when that thing that you know we want to launch the next phase, if it goes well, can I please have the honor of saying everything that has transpired has gone through according to my design.
proceeding as planned.
You got it.
The price for their lack of vision.
You got it. Guitar.
I've been practicing the Emperor a little too much, you know. Now
Yeah, I
you
need
will
to practice.
pay for your lack of vision.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Young fool, only now, at the end, do you realize? Oh man, if
Dude, you're
only I
so
could
good
do
at
the
that.
laugh. If only I could do the laugh, I would be complete, you know. In truth, I really wanted
Can't do
to I wanted to audition for the voice of Sidious. But I chickened out so hard. You have no idea. I'm like, I want to do this, you know. I want to try and be the voice of Sidious, and then I saw the other guys. I'm like, yeah, they're so much better.
We've all been there.
Fair enough.
So yeah, Sith Kryptonian, everyone. He posts great content. He's focused. That's the thing, Sith. This is the first time I've had you on the stream, hosting you on the stream. I think you've hosted me plenty of times, and the thing is, what I said on a stream or two previously is that what helps us as the collective is not only that we're just a bunch of people that are on this platform and, you know, we're just protesting against Star Wars like mindless sheep. We're actually taking it apart from different angles, and we're focused. Our content is focused, and it shows. And that's why, for example, you've reached and surpassed over 600 subs, is because people see that you've got some focused content, and what you're saying is not like, it's not crap. Okay, people can actually say, hey,
Depends who you ask.
well, listen. I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, and I know that this is how a lot of YouTubers feel. When you subscribe to a new channel that has, you know, like under 1,000 subs, you're going to be like, okay, why should I give this guy a chance? And when I see a video uploaded from you or Flip, for example, and the Rookie Critic and Angus, to name a few, I look forward to it as if, you know, a Jeremy Geeks and Gamers video comes out, as if Star Wars Theory or Stupendous Wave turns out a new video. So whenever I see a notification, because I've hit the bell on all of you guys, and when I see some content from you guys, okay, I may not comment immediately, but I will drop that like. But I will watch it, and I will eagerly wait to see what you thought of, what your next think piece is, what Flip's next skit is about, you know. So I think that's how mostly people feel that have subscribed to us, and this is why I think that we should keep it up. We keep them interested. They're entertained. Flip makes them laugh. Sith has got his think pieces. Rookie is helping introduce people into the collective. He helps other people. He's got his own tutorials. Me, I'm just trying to take the Last Jedi apart from a different standpoint, and then I'm going to be doing some Star Wars lore videos, Stupendous Wave style. or some lightsaber videos along the way. We all have our like strengths and weaknesses, but we all make it up together in numbers, you know.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's well said. Yeah.
Well said. Absolutely.
Rookie, plug in.
Yeah, I said, well put, man. Very good. That was good.
Oh, you want to say a few words about your channel before we go off air?
What you coming back with, Rookie?
What?
What you got coming, Rookie?
Oh, I got too many things that's coming in the works, guys. I've been posting the bait this month, and then I'll be posting the actual stuff next month. But I'm really trying to actually put my other projects aside for the moment so I can actually finish my script for the How I Do the Force Awakens, because I know that I'll try to involve a lot of people in that, and that itself will take a long time. So if I have the script all the way done, then I'll be able to get other people involved and work on the other videos. So it might actually be a little while before you see like any of my regular consistent videos, because I'm gonna post out these littler ones that take less time to do while I work on the bigger project, and then I'll be busting out the other ones. So a lot of stuff in the works, and I couldn't put anything about the Phantom Collective better than these guys and what you were saying too. So nice.
Right on. Right
So
on.
Rookie Critic,
Can't wait, bro. Can't wait.
Mike, you there?
I am indeed. I just want to thank you guys again for having me on. I really enjoy having a group to shoot ideas around with, and I'm always happy to come on and join you guys. It's really good to meet you finally tonight, Sith, and of course we'll be seeing each other again soon. I'm
Absolutely, sure. Likewise, man.
And I thank everybody that came and watched tonight. I know that we were up to like 16 or 18 people a little while ago, so thanks to everyone that was watching and everyone that followed along in the chat. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you all for participating. The fact that I get to host a stream and have a few watchers, to take time and listen to what we have to say is something that it's not easy. I mean, it does seem like, hey, it's just a bunch of people jumping on a stream. And for me to stream, you have to be able to have something to discuss. And this community is very rich in things. And we should be grateful for all of these SJWs with all of their cringeworthy things that they do, because they give us something to look and talk about and analyze. And well, aside from that, eventually they will die out. We will stop giving them attention because good things are coming. And I know that for a fact. We will be able to start focusing all of this energy that we have on positive things. And I think that that's what the next phase of the Fandom Collective should be focusing, or refocusing our attention onto the positive things that Star Wars has. Because
Hey, Katarn.
Yeah.
Hey, we have just like Jeremy and Ivan Ortega from Geeks and Gamers, we have many different projects coming up. We have exciting projects coming up, and though you may not know what they are going to blow your mind, and we are very excited to continue what we are doing. Although that being said, I do want you guys to remember to focus at Geeks and Gamers and Ivan Ortega. They do really have something really freaking amazing about to drop. And that being said, do keep in tune to us. We do love you guys, and this community is growing as fast as it can, but also as truly as it can. So stay true, stay united, stay strong. We love you guys.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll catch you next week, possibly with more or less the same panel, because it's a pretty solid panel, and I wouldn't change you guys for the world. Thanks for Sith filling in for the rant, and I'll catch you guys next time on my next video upload. You'll find me, Phantom Collective, and thank you.